Morning, morning, everyone. Everyone can hear me okay? Yes?
Yep. Morning.
Awesome. You look good today, Kwan Yu. Same shirt. I text you this morning. Wear the same shirt. No,
Yeah,
I'm just
man.
kidding.
Nice.
Okay. Morning, Yan. Morning, Victor.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Okay. So,
Morning, Chris.
morning. Let me clear out a couple things here. Okay. We have at least one, I believe, at least one going for the vaccine shot this morning. So they'll be joining later if they're able to. But remember, we're recording this. Dorothy, I remember to record already. Okay, so we're good today. Before we go ahead and get really started, do we have any questions from yesterday? Morning, Nadrol. Do we have any questions from yesterday at all? Yes, no? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so
Good morning, Mr. Chris. I got a question.
go ahead, Dorothy.
Okay. Yesterday when we are going through, we are talking about like the best practices of like, when we take action, what to do and not to do.
Right,
And
right,
also like we align with the strategies, everything, right?
right,
So uh, align with that, I was just like wondering, when things doesn't work out well, when we go back and look at our strategies, and then maybe most of the time we will do the like pre postmortem of analysis, how what went wrong and how we can improve, all right. So
right.
in that manner, what will be the best approach, or like the um uh, looking into the sales funnel, the acquisition part, how can
Right.
we uh, improve better on that?
Okay. Can you clarify your question a little bit more?
I just like want to have like when we are doing the pre-post-mortem analysis, how can
Okay.
we improvise on the
Hold on.
sales?
You said pre-post-mortem.
Yeah,
Uh, Post-mortem means after, correct?
yeah.
Okay. So pre-post-mortem, can you define that?
Yeah, when things doesn't turn up well, when you already align with the
Right.
strategies, how can we improvise, after knowing the analysis, and yeah,
Okay.
so how can we like
Uh,
even look into the accusation part also?
okay. So I think what you're asking is, let's say you make a plan and the plan doesn't work. What do you do after that? Is that roughly what you're asking?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any opinion on that? What Dorothy is asking is, you make your plan, and it doesn't matter what that plan is. It could be how you prospect, how you do your sales process, your funnel, whatever it is. Let's say you make your plan and it doesn't work, and you need to. So what and you need to adjust. So does anybody have any opinion or feedback on that question?
Yes, I do. I
Yes, go
think
ahead, Kwan Yu.
there's a reason why you track before it ends, right? There's a reason for you to track and monitor. So when you monitor and things don't work out, just change the strategy. Find other ways to get to the number that you want. So that's the whole reason why you do analysis and monitoring, right?
Right.
So just change it. It's okay to admit that you were wrong in the plan. There's room for improvisation and optimization, and just get on with it. I mean, that's how we do digital anyway. Data tells us what to do next.
Right.
Yeah.
The important component that Kwan Yu mentioned is two things. Yeah. Most of us, we will do whatever we do, and then we only track the results. Kind of like how the daily numbers are now, right? But anyway, um, you most of the time what we do is we track results. And the results that most of us track is how many sales we get, or how many leads we get, or how much income or revenue comes in. Okay, it's not enough to track the results. You have to track the activities so that you can pinpoint where the gap is. For example, I went through something with Rajan. You're here, right? Sorry, yeah, right? Are you here? Let me see. Jahan, you're here? Yes? Yes, okay, Jahan is here. We track the calls that we make, okay? Let's say you make cold calls. Right? What do we track? We track the number of dials. The number of dials is how many times you punch a number, regardless of the result. And the next thing we track is no answer. The next thing we track is disconnected or wrong numbers. The next thing we track is how many people answer the phone, how many conversations, real conversations we have, and the goal of the call. Let's say the goal of the call is to either email or WhatsApp, some information, and the secondary goal is to make a second appointment. So then we track how many pieces of information we send out, and then we track how many second appointments are set, okay? And then we also track how many second appointments run. Does that make sense? That's a very basic call tracking system, all right? So if, let's say, at the end of the day, or let's say at the end of a week, we make 2 sales, for example, all right? Then we track how many pieces of information we send out. If we send out 4, okay, and we have 3 second appointments and we close 2 sales, then we know what the ratio is. So there's a couple things that we do. We got to track your closing ratio. We got to track how many dials that you make. So in this example, let's say you make 2 sales, set 3 appointments. So 3 appointments gives you 2 sales, for example. So how do we increase the number of sales? We increase the number of sales at the beginning, where we increase the number of calls that we make, for example, all right? Sometimes increasing the number of calls is not the answer, because you're already maxed out on time. And so what you have to do is, the data tells you that you're maxed out on the number of calls that you can make, and you go through all the steps and you end up with 2 sales. The data could be telling you that you're calling the wrong list, or the list needs to be changed, for example. All right. So in that, to really answer your question, Dorothy, we have to track, we have to analyze, and then when we adjust, right, it's very difficult to adjust everything in whatever you're doing. All right. We have to adjust component by component, and then keep tracking the results. Is it a long process? Is it a tedious process? It is. All right. But once we get the formula, we just keep repeating the formula, and we keep tracking, and we keep analyzing. Does that make sense, Dorothy?
Yeah, I'm getting the answer.
Okay, good.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Yesterday, let's see, a couple people text me. Dorothy was one of them, saying that, how do we, something along the lines of time management, correct? Dorothy?
Yes.
Okay, so we won't cover specifically time management in this training session. This training series. What I will do, though, I promised that I would send out some of the books that I've read that have helped me. I think I've already selected about 15 or 16, and I'll include something on time management specifically for sales professionals, and I'll include that in the list when I send everything out. I would say by tomorrow afternoon, evening, we'll have all the recordings rendered, put into a private YouTube link, and all the books and the PDFs. I'll get it sent out to you latest by tomorrow evening. All right. And along the way, if if you think that, hey, you know what, I would like a book on this topic, I will probably have it in PDF version. Probably, I think I've got about 1,200, 1,300 books on PDF, and I'll send out. So I pretty much have almost every topic. So if you think of something that you want, you can send it over to me. All right, sound good, everyone? Yeah. Okay. Announcing part. Sorry, I don't get the announcing. George. Announcing.
That's the
Excuse me.
morning, please.
Morning.
That's before you break us into the room. You're telling about something like announcing that our goals or something like that. That is the
Announcing.
topic you cover before you break us into the separate chat room.
Oh, you mean like speaking out?
Yes, yes, yes.
Accountability.
Oh, okay. It's not announcing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we have to speak out. Okay, so we can tell ourselves, this is my plan, and these are my goals. All right. So we all have our own goals and whatnot, correct? And we all have our own things that we want to do. So what we need to do is we need to announce it and declare it to somebody else. That somebody else could be close to us or not so close to us. It doesn't matter. All right. For the ladies and gentlemen from Jinixu, maybe you guys could get together, maybe in smaller groups. You could announce to each other, hey, you know what? In the next 3 months, I'm going to accomplish this. And for those that are kind of alone, you can message me, okay, on WhatsApp. Later, I'll give you my WhatsApp number for those that don't have it. You can message me and you can tell me, hey, in the next 30 days, this is what I want to accomplish. And so the reason behind that is not really that, well, if you announce it to me, I'll give suggestions on how you can achieve that. But the important thing is that is based on this concept. We keep things to ourselves, like our goals, we tell ourselves, right? And then we say, oh, I want to achieve this in the next, let's say, 30 days. And then if let's say we don't achieve it, it's like, oh, you know what, I didn't achieve it. I should have tried harder. But it's based on this concept. We will do more for others than we will do for ourselves. That's the first concept. The second concept is, face, right? We don't want to lose face, right? So when we let's say I tell Victor, I'm going to do 60,000 in revenue in the for the remainder of July. Let's say I tell you that, all right? And then Victor, after 1 week, you might do something like, hey Chris, you said that you wanted to do 60,000 in revenue in until the end of July. How's that going so far? Okay, so if Victor is like messaging me or asking me a question, then I go, shit, you know what? I'm not on track. I better do more tomorrow. I better do more over the next few days. I kind of slack off a bit, and so we want to live up to the words that we speak out. Does that make sense, George?
Yeah, okay. Because I used to do things like telling in social media, like in Facebook,
Right,
just
right,
write up something that my goals, especially when New Year, New Year resolution,
right,
and
right.
kind of like telling like what you are saying now. I mean, instead of just a group of friends and tell,
Right,
we just make an announcement in social media. I think this will
right.
help also, right?
Um, Me personally, yeah, I'm not the kind of person that would really announce. This is me, all right. I would not announce like personal things on social media. If any of you are my friends on Facebook, I think some of you are. You will notice that I never put anything personal. Okay, and there's a specific reason for that. Okay, before I go into that, let me ask you all a question. Okay, uh, the answer you will type in the chat is either IN, that's in, or EX, that's X. All right. So let me ask you a question. For those that kind of know the answer, just play along. Um, Knowing what you know about me, what you see here, okay, in the role that I'm in, do you think the first answer is in, which is introvert? The second answer is X, which is extrovert. Okay, so do y'all think I'm an introvert or an extrovert? Okay, kind of a mix. All right. Okay. Let's see. Actually, those people that put introvert, you're right. The people that put extrovert, you're also right. All right. It's actually a two-part answer. What you see here, I'm extrovert. All right. When I'm not in like any kind of public or business kind of setting, I'm extremely introvert. I'm introvert to the point that if I go to any kind of function or party or gathering, yeah, I will hardly ever say anything besides hi, hello, how are you? If you know me in a private setting, if you look for a corner where there's one guy sitting down keeping quiet, that would be me. I'm a very shy person by nature, but the extrovert part comes out because I make it come out and I learn how to do it. Okay, and to touch on that, it's because of that that I don't post pictures of myself on social media, because I'm not that kind of person. I treat social media as a business tool, whether it's on my profile page or business pages. I treat myself as I treat it as a business tool, and I don't, how would I put it? I don't broadcast my personal things normally. Okay. So, however, George, if you find that that helps you, by all means do it. And I think some of you kind of agree with what I said about social media, right? Yes, no? Yeah. But others will be like, oh, I'm having this coffee, I'm doing this, and all those things, right? Perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. Did that kind of answer your question, George? George?
Yes, I put it in the chat already. Yes, thank you, Chris. Bye.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions before we start this morning? Any other comments? Any observations? Any clarifications that we need to make before we start? Yes. Oh, okay. I thought you were raising your hand, but you did this, Guan Yu, yeah? Okay. Okay, so give me a quick second here. Okay, let me get the slides up. We're going to start with prospecting first. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Everything in business and everything in our profession as revenue generators, it all starts with prospecting. Okay. Let me ask you this question, and maybe you can type it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, and you can say out the answer. First question is, why is prospecting important? Does anybody have any thoughts on why it's important?
So that you have a constant pipeline.
Exactly right. A constant pipeline that that you put people through at every stage, and it starts at the very beginning, correct? Well, I like the way that you're saying it, Jahan. To open new market, yes, okay. Well, all the answers are that you're giving out is correct. The problem is, the real problem is that we're not doing it right, and we're not doing enough of it. Because if you really think about it, our income is here. Jahan, you're right. You know, our income is here, and then we do all these steps, and the prospecting part is at the very beginning of your sales process, right? Um, if you don't need to answer this out loud or type it in the chat, but here's what I found when I talk to revenue generators. All right, they know that prospecting is important. Yeah, too shy, right? So they know that prospecting is important, but we don't do it the right way. We don't do enough of it, and we don't do it consistently. Okay, if you're building your, like yesterday we talked about, you know, building your schedule, the regimentation of building your schedule. Um, if you do not have some kind of prospecting or marketing activity that you put in your schedule every single day, then you need to fix that. Okay? You must, you must, you must do prospecting every single day. And if you're not doing that now, please start now. Please. Okay? I'm going to show you a slide. Maybe some of you have seen this before. So I'm going to show you two pictures of two people fishing. Okay? And when I show you the pictures, I want you to type in the chat A or B. Who do you think would be more successful in catching fish? Okay. I think everybody would put B, right? Okay. And so, picture A. This is what some of us are doing. We're prospecting in the wrong place because it's easier, because it's more convenient, because we don't have to put in a lot of work, you know, to prospect. But we're prospecting in the wrong place. On the second picture, I'll call him the fishing guy or the fisherman, has multiple rods in the water. Okay, we cannot just use one way, you know, to get prospects. We have to use multiple ways. I'll give you an example. Before COVID, we could cold call. We can ask for referrals. We can do live workshops or business presentations. We can do networking. We can go around and bump into people. We have all those ways to prospect, right? After COVID, especially now these couple months, some of those avenues have changed. Some of us used to door knock, right, and visit offices. We call it a cold visit, right? I think Valerie, you're one of those, right, that used to visit offices and knock on the door. Okay, that's kind of gone away. So if you only have one way to prospect for leads and customers, you know what? If something happens, you're screwed. Which a lot of businesses, a lot of revenue generators have been screwed over the last 1 year, 1.5 years, whatever it is. All right. Literally, industries have shut down, right? Okay, so this tells us that we must do two things. We must have a consistent activity every day. We must have a consistent activity in prospecting, and we need to have multiple sources or multiple streams or avenues of prospecting. Yesterday I mentioned it's never been easier to find someone's phone number or find someone's email. And there are platforms that some are free and they have a limited number of times you can inquire. This is more for B2B. You can find their email, you can find their direct line. Direct line almost useless now, but some of them will list their mobile numbers. Okay, there's another avenue, especially for B2B. But B2C can use this as well. LinkedIn. I do a lot of marketing on LinkedIn, and I get inquiries and I get leads And these come in. I also reach out, on a one of my daily activities is, send out 25 messages on personalized messages on LinkedIn, every single day. We must do these things every single day. Okay, I cannot tell you how much revenue we produced out of this one activity of reaching out to either new people or contacts on LinkedIn. And when we reach out, we don't go, hey, my name is Chris, this is what I do, let's set up an appointment. Okay, when we talk about that, I'll teach you what I do tomorrow. All right, on how to approach, because we do not want to approach that way, because for those of us that are on LinkedIn, we probably get messages like that, right? And I get messages like, hey, sorry to bother you, but this is what I do. It's like, if you're sorry to bother me, don't bother me at all, right? And when someone reaches out in the completely wrong way, what it does is it actually turns us off, doesn't it? Right? Okay? So you have to craft your message. All right? There's a statistic in 2019. I couldn't find anything more recent than 2019. And this is a worldwide statistic. It was done by a premier market research organization in the UK. And in 2019, what they found is that 67% of salespeople, that means out of 100 revenue generators, 67% out of 167 had less than 250 leads. Now, how many of you, raise your hand or say me, how many of you think that 250 leads is like a lot? It's not. This is what 250 leads actually means, okay? We'll run some numbers. 250 leads means 20 leads a month. That's less than one a day, okay? 20 leads a month, less than one a day. Can you run a business? Okay, let's say your closing ratio is, let's say 20% if we track it back from the incoming leads, which actually we shouldn't, but let's just use that as an example. If you have 250 leads, okay, how many deals can you close? Right? But the number is very, very off. What we should be doing is we should be increasing the number of leads that we have, and that comes from prospecting activities. All right, in some of the businesses that we run, we get 2 or 3 inquiries a day. All right, inquiries, yeah. So some of the businesses that we do, we're not reaching out. We have marketing that get people to inquire, but the ticket price is a little bit higher. And so out of the 3 leads a day, our closing ratio on the incoming 3 leads is less than 30%. It's way less than 30%. So if we only have a small number of leads coming in on a monthly basis or yearly basis, then our revenue, the closing ratio still remains at way less than 30%, but the revenue will be small as well. So what do we need to do? We need to increase the number of incoming inquiries. All right. We used to get 1 or 2 inquiries every 3 to 4 days, and so this goes back to what Dorothy was asking earlier. We were tracking everything, and we adjusted a few things, and we get it to the point where we're getting 3 incoming leads a day. When we increase the number of leads that we're getting, we're not increasing the closing ratio, but we're increasing the volume. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Whatever your income level is right now, whatever problems that you're having, we talked about yesterday, one of the last things we talked about was, hold on, yeah, let me move this over here. Okay, one of the things that we mentioned is that all of us have problems, right? Right? Every single one of us have problems, and 80 to 90% of the problems that we have can be solved with what? Anybody? 80 to 90% of our problems can be solved with what?
Money.
Right. And so money comes from profits, comes from revenue, comes from customers or clients, comes from closing, comes from presenting, comes from handling objections, comes from qualifying, comes from prospecting. Okay? And prospecting comes from the leads that you have. So, lots of leads solves lots of problems. Instead of stressing about the problem that you have, and it's very easy to say, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, just let go of your problems. We cannot do that. What we can do is we always say, oh, you know what? I have this problem. I need money to fix it. I need to find more clients. Change that statement to, instead of saying I need to find more clients, I need to find more leads, because leads is the start of the funnel, and you put it through the whole process, and you end up with customers. Okay. And what I'm about to share with you on the next slide, some of you will say, "Oh, I don't like that. We don't like to do that." All right, but you must. Okay, you must use scripts. You have to use scripts. All right. Let me unshare my screen real quick here. Let me ask you a question, and you can type yes or no, or you can just raise your hand if you do. All right. So the question is, how many of us here use scripts right now? No? Victor, yes. Dorothy, sometimes. Kuan Yu, yes. Okay. So those that say yes, is it written? Is it written down or typed out? Or is it in your head?
Usually it's typed out, a lot of copy pasting from what we have, what I have crafted into emails. That's
Yes.
how I do it, at least.
Okay, very good. Nobody else? Okay. When I ask this question, how many of you use scripts? Okay. Actually, everybody's hand should be up. Everybody's hand should be up. The reality is, everybody uses scripts. The only difference is, not for everyone, but in most cases, the only difference is it's not written out or typed out. And if it's not written out or typed out, it's inconsistent, and it's probably not that effective. Okay? Because if it's not written out, you don't have something consistent. Remember we talked about tracking? We talk about scripts, right? We can track every part of the script. This is what I'm going to do for y'all. I don't remember if it's in the slides. If it's not in the slides, I'm going to share it later. I'm going to give you a sample cold calling script that is super effective. Okay, I'm going to send it. I'm going to give it to you. If it's not in the slides, I'll email it to you, and then this is what I'll do for you. I'll even send it to you in a Microsoft Word format so that you can edit. All right. You take that, you plug in your information, you adjust your product or service, you send it back to me. I will look it over, and I'll make adjustments for you, and I'll send it back to you. And then you'll have a script. Okay? Now, we're all professionals. Who's professionals? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're a professional. For those that don't have the video, say yes, I am. Okay? Irene, you're professional, right? Yes? Irene? Yes, okay. I'm going to ask you this question. Jahan, yes, perfect, professional. Okay? I'm going to ask you this question, okay? You've heard of scammers? We all heard of scammers, right? Maybe some of you have heard this, this story. Not my story that I'm a scammer, yeah. But scammers, okay, what is the difference? Okay, we're all professionals, correct? We're all sales and business professionals, yes? Okay? And so we are here, sales and business professionals, right? And then we have scammers over here, right? What is the difference between a sales and business professional, all of us, and a scammer? What is the difference? You can just, type in what you think is the answer, or you can unmute yourself and say, what is the difference?
I'll try to answer, Chris.
Yes, Valerie, go ahead.
I think the difference is the intention. Scammers has the intention to fraud people.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Eh, That's it.
Okay. So, uh, Jahan says, yeah, they cheat, we solve. Actually, you know what? Jahan, scammers also solve problems. They also solve problems, right? Okay. The one main difference between us, the sales and business professionals, and the scammers is that we sell something tangible or intangible. We sell something that's real. Okay. We sell something that has value. Okay. Scammers sell nothing. Right? They sell nothing. Am I right? Right? Okay. But how come scammers can still get money? I will tell you why. Okay? Because the things that we're learning on in these 3 days, the things that I teach for the last 20 years, they have mastered. They've mastered prospecting. They've mastered qualifying the mark. They've mastered trust and rapport. They've mastered handling objections. They've mastered creating urgency, creating desire, appealing to emotion. They mastered closing, right? And they mastered follow up. They've mastered these things. And that's why they can still get money. Guan Yu, yes, you have a question.
No, one thing to add. I think they're also
Ah.
processing way more leads and prospects than we do.
Correct. Because they focus on the leads. When you focus on the leads and you put it through a system, all they got to do is follow the system. But we, as real professionals that sell something of value and something that can benefit our customers and clients, we shortchange ourselves when we take shortcuts. Right? I'm going to show you a couple things. All right? Okay, hold on one sec. Let me share back my screen. Okay, you're right, Jahan. Correct. Okay, bear with me one second here. I'm going to show you a couple things. All right. Let's see. Okay. I know it sounds bad. I follow scamming stories. Not okay. I follow scamming stories. I'm going to show you pictures of some. All right. So and I'm always happy. I'm always happy when they catch scammers. All right. And sometimes I watch videos on YouTube where they reverse scam the scammers. Right. Okay. And then they wipe out their computers and whatnot. Right. But I'm going to show you some pictures. This one's very interesting. Okay. So this the guy in the white shirt is a reporter from 60 Minutes, I believe. I cannot remember 60 Minutes, Australia or US, but they did a raid on a scammer's call center. Okay, you see the police there, you see the reporters there. What else do you see in the picture? You can say it out or you can type. What do you see in the picture that really stands out? Yes, you see the scripts. Okay. You see the scripts, okay? These are their scripts. All right? If scammers can get money, and you know what? They all should be caught. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should be one. What I am saying is that they learned this from sales professionals back in the day when I was at the magazine. I told you I was at the magazine. My scripts were on the wall. When I was doing my calls, I was facing the wall. The scripts that you see kind of like that on your screen is what I saw in front of me on the wall. Next to the script was all the objections that I got. Every objection that I got on a call was listed out with the responses. Okay, that way I didn't have to think about, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? All right, I could focus on the words I was using, the tonality, the pitch, the volume, and I could focus on what my prospect was saying. And if they gave me an objection, my response was right there. I was never tongue-tied. I was never put in a situation where I didn't know what to say, because everything was right in front of me. If you do not have a script, I will help you create your first one. All right? If you have a script already, send it to me. I'll take a look at it. All right? Because we need to be consistent in the things that we say. When we have consistency, then we can track. When we can track, we can analyze. When we can analyze, we can now improve. Does that make sense? Yes, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. Valerie, if you don't have a script, I will send one out by tomorrow evening, and you can put in your info there, and then send it to me. I'll adjust it for you. All right? And you need to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Whether you have a script that's written out or not, you're already using one. Let me drive it home with what I'm going to say next. If you think back on your conversations, you're roughly saying the same thing. Okay, you're roughly saying the same things on a initial conversation, a second conversation, and a third conversation. Basic human nature is that when someone is talking, we're not listening to them. Basic human nature. Okay, when somebody is talking, we're not listening to them 100%. Okay, what we're doing is we're thinking, what am I going to say when he stops talking? That's what we do. And when you're thinking, what am I going to say when the prospect stops talking, you're not really listening. You're not really listening to what they're saying. With a script, you don't have to worry about what you're going to say because it's all prepared. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be like a robot. You need to have some fluidity, some flexibility, and I'll show you. Later I'll show you one of the scripts that we use, because the script can go into 4 or 5 different directions. If the prospect says this, okay, we continue down this track. If they say that, we continue down this track. If they say this, we go down this way. So it's not a linear script. You can go off in tangents. I'll show you this also. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, okay. So remember I said when the customer's talking, 2 things. Yeah, when the customer's talking, we don't want to figure out what we're going to say next. We already know what we're going to say next. Does that make sense? That's the first one. Yes? The second is when you're on your calls, use something like this or use something like this. Okay? Use something where your hands are free. Because when your hands are free, what it allows you to do is allows you to write things down. I buy these in bulk, all right? And I will show you, okay? Every conversation that I have, the date, the person I talked to, and what they said, these are my notes, all right? Okay? Date, person, my notes. Let's see, continuation, all right? So I write all these down. Every conversation I have, I take notes. And yes, George and Celine, you are in here also. Okay? I take notes so that I don't need to remember, what did they say just now? Everything's written here. And if I forget, what I do is I go back to the date and I find the person and then, we talked about this. Okay? And that's why you cannot go, this is what I'm going to say next. This is what I'm going to say next. We need to stop that. All right? So let's get into the strategy of prospecting. Because prospecting, is it a talent or a skill? What do y'all think?
Skill.
Yes.
Skill.
Yes. No problem, Kieran. Thank you for shouting skill at me. I love that. Okay? So, everything that I'm teaching you these 3 days, none of it is a talent. Now, you might become very good at it. You might have an inbuilt talent that gets you to develop the skill. Um, but everything I'm teaching you is a skill. And if everything I'm teaching you is a skill, there are steps and structures and strategies. Okay, so let's talk about the strategy of prospecting. Okay, these are the components of prospecting. You see, a lot of us think prospecting is like, I got to go and find somebody that that can possibly be a client. You might have one or two things in your strategy of prospecting, but I can promise you that most of you do not. And I'll bring this up again. All these things that you see on your screen right now, do you think scammers know these things? Yes or no? They know. You must know. I'm going to show you how you're going to do all these things. Yes, no? Yes? Nadrul, yes? Okay. Your demographics. One of the questions that I asked you to prepare for this session was to define who your target audience or your perfect customer is, correct? Right? Okay? And this is how you do it. Some of you, some of you I know have not done that. Okay? How do I know? Because most people don't, because it's too much work. So I'm gonna go through how you're gonna identify your exact customer. Okay? You look for who can you help right now. And you look for who needs your help right now. Okay? Low hanging fruit. What does that mean? What it means is, prospects or potential customers that you can grab without too much trouble. All right? Now, let's go into the characteristics of who's your perfect client. Now, I'm going to give you a list of criteria. I'm going to give you a list of criteria. Not every criteria will be applicable to you. All right? When you look at who's your perfect client, what you should be doing is you should be imagining, what does my perfect client look like? What is their job? What is their socio-economic situation? What's the geography? What is their work? What is their, where do they hang out? Do they have a family? What's their religion? What's their ethnicity? What is their income? Where are they? All right? These are the things that you should be looking at. All right? It's not enough to say, let's say you're in B2B, I want to hit the advertising manager or the PR executive vice president of Maxis, for example. Okay, it needs to be more detailed than that, because if you can define who your perfect client is, then you can go out and look for them. Because remember, if you don't have a destination, you don't know how to get there. All right? So I need y'all to figure out who your perfect client is. When you can figure out who your perfect client is, then you can go out and look for them. Right? Okay? It's not enough to say, you know what? I want to hit all the example PR or mass comm vice presidents in in a certain location. We need to go deeper than that. All right? Now, then we need to figure out what is the problem they're facing. Okay? Whether they realize that they have a problem or not. All right? It's easier when you talk to a prospect and they know they have a problem, right? What about when you talk to a prospect where they don't realize that they have a problem, even though they have it, and you bring it up to them and you provide the solution? Okay. Now, one of the other questions that I asked you to prepare was, what are the features and the benefits of the product or service that you are selling, and we'll cover features and benefits in a while. All right. So you need to list out the benefits. Now, let me ask you this: what's the difference between feature and benefit? Anybody wanna give it a guess? I'll start off the answer this way. I'll help you out with the first part. A feature is what the product or service or solution is. All right, whether it's the characteristics of your product or service. That's a feature. And then the benefit is what? What is the benefit? Yes, Guan Yu, features is what the product does. What is the benefit? Yes, what the products do for the client. Yet, as sales and business professionals, what we always talk about, oh, my product is this, my product is this, my feature is, my service is this, it has this, it's 25 years, and, we come up with all sorts of features. Okay? Think about this. What you should be transmitting to them is what is the solution that you provide to their specific problem. Okay? Let me ask you this question. How many of you own hammers? Hammers. Just say me or yes. How many of you own a hammer? Nadru, you don't own a hammer. I'm going to knock you on the head. All right? Okay. Most normal human beings own hammers, right? Yes, Nadru? Okay. Now, why do you own a hammer? For those of you that say you own a hammer, why do you own a hammer? You can unmute yourself and say it out, or you can just type in, why do you own a hammer? Why do you own a hammer? Okay, Jan, hammer time, all right. Yes, Kiran, just in case something needs to be hammered, all right? But you see, here's the key part, okay? Like fix the TV, Valerie, or the fridge, bam, right? Okay? You buy a hammer not because you like the features of the hammer. Okay? You don't buy a hammer because it looks nice. You don't buy a hammer because it has a 50-year history. All right? You buy the hammer because you need to put a nail in the wall. Okay? To be Thor. Well, Guan Yu, that little hammer, I don't know if that's going to work for you, but okay. So the problem they're facing is, I need to hang a picture. I need to hang a picture on the wall, right? So how do I hang a picture on the wall? That's the problem I'm facing. The solution that you provide is that I can provide you a hammer, okay, so that you can put the picture on the wall. And that's how you should be selling. Not, hey, you know what? This hammer is made of alloy steel. The curvature is this. It has a rubber hammer. I mean, it has a rubber handle. We have the company's been around for 30 years. I don't care if your company's been around for 30 years if your hammer can put a nail in the wall to fix my problem. Does that make sense? Okay? And that's what a benefit is. In fact, I'm going to give you something a little bit extra. I want you to write these letters down. Write it down. Okay? I'm going to type it here in the chat as well. Anybody knows what WIIFM is? What is it, Nadrul?
What's in it for me?
Correct. Everybody, okay, some of us are extremely unselfish people. Some of us, yeah. Basic human behavior is that we are, I'll use the word selfish, but we look for benefits for ourselves. Okay? And so the basic human behavior is, if I get this, what is my benefit? What's in it for me? What benefit do I get? And if you can answer this question to your prospects, what is the benefit that you get by buying my product or service, then you have a sale. Then you don't need to be high pressure. You don't need to be, needy or desperate. You need to transfer this information, what's in it for me by buying my product and service. You need to transfer this information to your lead, your prospect, and ultimately your customer. All right? Okay, let's go into the price and value. We talk about price, we talk about value. A lot of people tell you, oh, you know what? You got to sell value, you cannot sell price. But they never tell you how to sell value, isn't it? Right? It's like, oh, you know what? I'm the teacher, I'm the trainer. I sound smart when I say, you guys got to sell value. You must sell value. Dude, tell me how to sell value. I'm going to tell you how to sell value. Okay? I'll illustrate this with a story. Some of you have heard this before. Y'all know Famous Amos? Okay? Famous Amos cookies, right? In Malaysia, there's one at Sungai Wang, correct? I love Famous Amos. Okay? I love Famous Amos. But I have not eaten Famous Amos in Malaysia for more than 6, almost 7 years. Because I refuse to go and buy from them, even though I love it. All right, this is the simple reason. When I go to the Famous Amos, I want this one, 100 grams, 200 grams, whatever the price is, right? And what turns me off is when they put it on the weighing scale. Let's say it's 100 grams, right? 100 grams, whatever the price is. I don't even remember now. But they put 100 grams on the scale, and then it becomes 103 grams. Do you know what they do, Nadrul? It's 103 grams. What do?
They remove one.
They remove one. They take one away. It's like, dude, it's 3 grams. You know how I feel? I feel like, I don't know. Even though it's 100 grams, I order 100 grams, and I'm paying for 100 grams. When it's 103 and they take one cookie out, I don't know. I feel like I'm being cheated. Okay? Now, there's another store called See's Candies. See's Candies, they sell the most delicious chocolate you've ever had in your life. Okay? Yeah, Nadru, break in half, right? Okay? So, See's Candies, same concept. And they go by weight, but they have all different kinds of flavors of the chocolate, like strawberry filled, nougat filled, and whatever it is, right? So let's say they go by 100 grams. You pick, and then let's say it becomes 105 grams. They don't take out one, This is what they do. Whatever the weight is, and they're quite good at measuring the weight. All right, their people are trained very well. So whatever the weight is, what they will do is they'll look at the customer. The customer's looking at the scale, right? They make sure the customer's looking at the scale, and then they get the customer's attention, and then they pick one more piece of chocolate from the counter or the shelf, whatever it is. They pick one more. They make sure your eyes are looking at the chocolate, moving, and they put it in the box, and it becomes 115 or 120. That means it's already over, and they gave you more. Does that make sense? Okay. So the value is this. The value, how you sell value, is that you give them more. Yeah, actually, some of them do, Guan Yu. Some of them do. Okay. As if it's like, hey, it's our secret, yeah. So it's like a conspiracy, right? So it's and almost all of them do it. All right. So where was I? Okay. So how you give value is you give them more than they expect. Okay, you give them more than they expect, and we don't do it where we drop the price, because everybody drops the price, doesn't it? Right? If everybody drop the price, how come? Okay, whatever industry that we're in, is the market leader in your industry the cheapest service provider? Yes or no? No. Correct. In There is no industry where the market leader gives you the cheapest price. It's usually the middle or the higher range is the market leader, correct or not? Okay. Now you have to determine your product or service, is it low, medium, or high? All right. And then you got to determine what is the value that I provide to the customer. And how you provide value is you give them more than they expected. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Then we get into, once you do all that, what do they need to do? How are they going to enter your sales process? A simple way of entering the sales process is, hey Chris, can I get some information sent out to you by email or WhatsApp? And once they do that, they enter your sales process officially. Okay? And you have to follow up consistently. All right? Now, let me ask you this. What is the follow-up system that you use right now? Can anybody share what is the follow-up system that you use right now? Do you use a CRM? Do you use a piece of paper? Email? Okay. Now that's the Jahan. We cannot ever use memory. We cannot. Okay. Later on, if I forget, remind me. I will show you. I will show you my call tracking sheet. My lead follow-up sheet. Not only will I show it to you, but I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you in a Microsoft Word format so you can edit it for yourself, because I have some questions on there that's specific to me. I'll show you what that looks like later. Is that okay? Yes, no? Yes, no? Anybody? If you don't want it, just say no. Okay. Now, when I say system, okay, system is okay, let me ask you this question. Let me unshare the screen real quick, all right? Okay. Let me get some feedback from y'all. All right. How often do you follow up? Sawi, how often do you follow up with a prospect or a lead?
Some is 3 days, some is 1 week.
Okay. Sheila, how about you?
Once a week.
Okay. Jahan, how about you? Sometimes 2 or 3 days. Okay. Your answers tell me, and no disrespect at all, all right? Please, no disrespect at all. It tells me that you're inconsistent in your follow-up, right? Now, let me ask the second part of the question. Okay, how often do you follow up? How long do you follow up for? Sheila, you said once a week, right? How long do you follow up for?
For about a month.
Okay. Kieran, are you there? Can you hear me? Is Kieran still here? Or did he disappear? I think he did. Oh, Kieran, you're there. Kieran, can you hear me? Kieran? Okay, maybe he went to the toilet. All right. I will tell you this. You all know Martin, right? Okay, sorry. The ladies and gentlemen from Jinexu, you know Martin, correct? Who's the longest that has known Martin on your team? Who's known Martin 1 year, 2 years? Anybody? Victor, how long have you known Martin?
6 years.
6 years. Okay, you know him longer than me. Martin was a lead that I reached out to on LinkedIn about 3.5 years ago. Okay, I didn't get any revenue from Martin until 2 years later when I met him. Okay? I followed up with Martin for 2 years. Welcome back, Anissa. Hopefully your arm is okay. I followed up with Martin for 2 years before I got my first revenue from Jinexu. Okay? And I've gotten revenue from Jinexu since that time. Okay? So I followed up with Martin for 2 years before I got anything. I didn't call him every week. Okay? I didn't pester him. All right? The longest that I've ever followed up with a client is 4.5 years. Not every week, yeah? 4.5 years, and we closed the deal for about 280,000 this USD. Okay? Was it worth the 4 years? 4.5 years? Yes, it was. Okay? You see, you must have short-term clients, and I don't mean like short-term. I mean like clients that can close quickly, clients that can close in the medium range, and clients that may close in the long range. All right? And how I do my follow-up is I have a consistent, constant formula. That means I will follow up. Depending on the product and service. I'll follow up 3 times in 3 days. Okay, day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I will ease back. It'll go to once every 3 days, once every 5 days, once every 7 days, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 2 months. I will never go longer than once every 2 months. The reason for that is because all of us have experienced this. All of us have experienced that, hey, yeah, I didn't call this guy for 3 months already, yeah? Right? And then you call, and they say, hey, this is Chris. We talked about this 3 months ago. And then you know what they say? I already bought. Have we experienced that? Yeah. How shitty is that feeling? That they bought from someone else. Right? Whose fault is that? It's our fault. It's our fault. Okay? Because you didn't follow up consistently. You must have a follow-up system. And you need to develop your follow-up system. Anybody rented a house, bought or sold a house before? Anybody? Yes? Rented a house, bought a house, sold a house. Everybody, right? Everybody, because we're all staying somewhere, right? Okay? Especially in Malaysia, the follow-up system for property agents sucks. Right? They'll call you like 10 times a day. And then suddenly there's nothing, isn't it? Correct or not? Right? What we did was we created a 70-day follow-up plan for a boutique property firm. They were closing deals at every point of that plan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you that plan so that you can use it for yourself. So you can say that, oh, you know what, I want to follow up by call, I want to follow up by email or WhatsApp. Which one is the best? Email, call, or WhatsApp? Which one's the best? Yan, call, okay. Some more? Call, okay. Call, all right. All three, very close, Guan Yu. Sheila, what do you think? What do you think is your answer? Which one's the best?
Call.
Okay, me, I prefer to call. I will always call. Always call. Right, Anissa? Right? Okay. However, my preference doesn't matter. What matters more? My preference doesn't matter. Right. We find out what they prefer, and we use that medium to stay in touch with them. Now, it does. If let's say they say, I'll tell you this: email is the worst for me, in my experience. Email is the worst. Okay, if let's say you ask them, how, let's say you ask this question, how would you prefer that I, and we don't use the word follow up. Sometimes you can, if you're more familiar with them. Hey, when should I follow up with you? They will. How often do you hear? Yeah, just email, right? Correct. And then what do we say, Sheila? What do we say when they say email, right? What do we say when we ask them, how do you prefer that I follow up with you, and they say email? What do we normally say, Sheila?
Can I call you next week?
Right. We don't do that. I don't think we do that, right? If they say okay, I'm going to teach you what to say. Is it okay? I'm going to share with you what actually works, okay? So, let's role play, Sheila, and then your answer is email. Okay, your answer is email. Thanks for the conversation, Sheila. What I'll do is I'll give you a quick follow up. Say on by Thursday. How do you want me to check in with you?
You can email me.
Okay, no problem. I'll do that. Besides email, can I give you a call as well?
You can email me first.
Okay, understood. And if I don't hear back from your email by Friday, should I give you a call?
Okay, can.
Okay, and that's how we do it, right? You see, I wasn't begging to call her. Okay, if she said no, just do the email, then I'll say, hey, you know what? I can definitely do that. How about if I don't hear from you by Friday, I send you a WhatsApp? Would that be okay? You see, I'm not begging. I'm taking charge in a non-threatening way. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? And how come I can just say these things just from the tip of my tongue? Because I practiced that phrase and that scenario hundreds of times, not with the customer. Okay? You will find that when you practice, you become more proficient. You must practice. All right? Okay, so let's get back to the slides. Was that useful, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, a little bit? Yes, no? Okay, good. Let me get back here. Okay, so you need to figure out what's your follow-up system, what platform you're using, and what system you're using. Okay? Platform means, are you using paper? Are you using some kind of CRM? Are you using index cards? For those of you that say I use Google Calendar, damn, stop using that for your follow-up. Okay? Use a proper calendar system. All right? And then you need to figure out, and you need to tell your customer, I'm going to be following up with you. Okay? It cannot be, okay, I'll talk to you soon. What is soon? My definition of soon is within the next 24 hours. Their definition of soon is in the next 3 to 6 months. Okay? You need to be very clear. How many times have you talked to a customer or prospect and they said that, yeah, I think we wanna look at this, all right? Or they say, you know what, that sounds like a very interesting proposition. Give me some time to think about it. And then you say, can I talk to you soon? Can I follow up with you soon? And then you wait a week, and then you call them, and then they say, too soon. Not ready yet. Because you did not define what is soon. All right? And then what's your follow-up process? You must have a sequence. Most of the time we start with a call or an email. Okay? But we must have different ways of getting in touch with them. Okay, we can call them, email them, WhatsApp them, LinkedIn message. Now, we have so many platforms. Okay, we have like the WhatsApp, the Signal, the Telegram, the Viber. Valerie and Cecil, do y'all use WhatsApp? Just tell me yes or no. Sorry. Okay, right. Valerie does not use Valerie does not use WhatsApp. I think. Let me remember. Cecil uses WhatsApp, if I remember, correct? Right? Just type yes or no, Cecil. Okay. The reason I know. Right. So, Jahan, I'll answer that question in a bit. So, my customers come from different countries. Okay. If we only rely on WhatsApp, I would never connect with Valerie. Right. And that's why we need to find out what is their preferred messaging app. That's why I have Viber, WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, Telegram, Signal, because I need to find out what is their preferred mode of communication, right? If we need to figure out, especially if we're dealing with other geographical locations, what do they prefer on the communication? Does that make sense? Okay. Jahan, when you say survey, may look for an alternative way or survey also. Can you explain what you mean by that, Jahan? Oh, okay. So comparing the price. It's very interesting that you asked that question because we're going to talk about this now. Okay. You should be an expert in your product, your service, correct? Yes or no? Do you all agree? Yes? Raise your hand if you agree. Yes? Okay. But you should also be an expert in your competitors' product and service. How many of you can tell me right now that you're an expert in your competitors' products and services? No? Let me show you a couple things. If you're not, you need to start doing this. All right? You need to think about, what do they offer that's the same as what you offer? You need to be able to communicate how you are different from your competitor. Okay? And when we do that, we normally say, oh, we're around longer than them, we're cheaper than them, we give you good quality service, right? Hey, the things that you're saying in your industry, in your profession, think of who's the worst in your industry and profession, the lousiest company in your industry. Can you think of that? Right? Whoever you're thinking of, do you think they also say, we give good quality, we give you the best price, we give good service, they say the same things, isn't it? Right? I'm going to show you something, okay? And this is how serious that you should be. Okay, let me close this out real quick. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to pull up one of my folders. Okay. Okay, so let me share screen real quick. So, you all can see my screen, yes? Yeah? Okay. So, competitor materials. Okay. I keep it in my Dropbox. This is not the only folder I have. So, these are... They may or may not be competitors, but in the same industry as one of our products and services. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, so let's say we go in here, subfolders. Okay, we go into any of them, and it has all the subfolders, all the documents. Okay, and when I look at these things, yeah. When you look at these things that I have in my folder, do you think that I have a good indication of my competitors? Yes or no? Yes, I do. I'll also show you this. Okay, I'll also show you this, and I'll show a more clear example later. Okay, let's see. Okay, can you see this on your screen? It's like my my Safari or my browser. Yes. Yeah. You can see, right? Okay. So I have I have one tab here. I have one tab here, sales and marketing info. So these are also my competitors. Okay. I also have videos. If you look at the subfolders, okay, these are also my competitors. All right. Then I also have what's called a swipe file, which is full of my competitors. Okay. These are how I keep track of my competitors. Okay. So I'm very in tune to what my competitors are doing. I can tell you most probably how much they charge, what are the features that they give, what are their modules, how they implement their business. Yeah, you're right, Valerie, FB chat also. How they implement their business, how they go about marketing their business, and how they fulfill. Because I've also purchased and attended some of their programs. So I know how they're fulfilling it. Okay? So, do you have this level of knowledge on your competitors? You must. Because what if your prospect tells you, oh, XYZ company, and then you go, who's that, yeah? And then they go, you never heard of them? It's your industry, man. It's your industry. Okay? If you don't know, first of all, if you don't know who your competitors are, shame on you. Okay? If you know who your competitors are, but you don't know their price, shame on you. If you know their price, but you don't know how they do it, shame on you. If you don't know what's the difference between your company, your product, your service, and your competitors, that needs to change now. It needs to change now. Because how can you have an intelligent, consulting, advisory conversation with your prospect if you cannot compare? And then you never want to compare apples to apples. Comparing apples to apples, the only thing you can compare is the price. Correct? What you want to do is you want to compare apples to oranges, because people say, don't compare apples to oranges, right? Correct or not? You don't want them to compare apples to apples. It's like my product, my service, competitor's product and service, exactly the same. What's the difference? The price. And then it becomes a price war. Y'all like price wars? I think nobody likes price wars, right? What you do is you compare apples to oranges. So how do you compare apples to oranges? You make your product a little bit different. Okay? I'm not saying change your product. What I'm saying is that you add in things so that it becomes an irresistible offer. You add so much value that it doesn't even make sense to consider your competitor. Are you going to close 100% of these deals? Are you going to close 100%? Yes or no? Dare not answer, right? The answer is no. You cannot. You can try, Jahan, right? You can try, but you cannot close 100%. You can close close to 100, or as close as possible, but you cannot close 100%. Do you know that there are even people that say no to me? Do you know? Okay, and I tell you, I'm extremely good at prospecting, qualifying, presenting, all those things that we're teaching. I promise you, no arrogance. I'm extremely good at that. But people also tell me no. I'll share one quick example. Okay, there's a lady that I was trying to sell. Okay, I'll use that word. I was trying to sell to be on this training. Okay, to be on this training. All right. I thought she would be a very good prospect because the conversations that we had in leading up to that conversation were all very good. I thought, guaranteed sale. I really thought guaranteed sale. Really, I thought. Okay? And then when I spoke to her, I said, what is your position and things like that. And, only one kind of people attend my trainings like this. It's sales and business professionals, correct? Yes? Right? Okay? I found out that she's the admin, she's the PA or the admin executive to a CEO of a recognizable company. Not huge, and I won't mention the name, but if I mention the name, you would probably know the company. So she's the PA to the CEO. Okay? So she attended, the sales trainings, and then I was trying to get her to attend this one and pay for the ticket, right? And she told me, oh, you know what, I got to talk to my CEO and see if the company will pay for it. She's an admin executive, PA to the CEO, and she wants to attend this sales training. Interesting, right? And so I asked her why when she told me she was admin, I said, why do you want to attend the sales training? This is what she told me. She said, I want to learn how to sell. I want to learn how to sell so I can help my company generate extra revenue. How amazing is that? Right? And then she didn't get back to me. We started the training yesterday. She messaged me. She messaged me yesterday at about 4 o'clock. In fact, I'll read out the message to you. Okay? She messaged me, and this is what she said. Let's see. She goes, "Hey Chris, I'm so sorry I couldn't update you yesterday. I'm so sorry I cannot join the training because my CFO says it's not related to my job scope." Okay? And I appreciate everything. Thank you so much for the offer. You know what was amazing to me? What's amazing is that the CFO said it's not related to your job scope. Okay? To me, we all need to improve. You're all here because we need to improve. Okay? We cannot just sit here for 3 days or 3.5 days and just go, Chris is good looking. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. We learn a few things and then it's good, and then tomorrow you're back to where you were. Okay? We cannot do that. All right? We have to implement. And I'll tell you this. If I was the CEO of that company, if I was a board member of that company and I saw that message, do you know who I would fire? Anybody? Would I fire that lady that wants to help the company get revenue? Who would I fire? I would fire the CFO, and I'm sure most of you would. You see, here's my point. Okay? Here's my point. That company will not beat their competition. Okay? That company will go lower and their competition will go higher if they have that mindset that they want to improve. You have an admin person that wants to improve, but the CFO says, no, that's not your job. It's like, what? Okay? You must know your competition, their capabilities, what they're able to do, how much they charge. If you don't know, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you're comparing apples to apples, and then people will go on price. You must put yourself in a situation where you're comparing apples to oranges, so that they cannot compare the price, because you're giving so much value. Even if you're more expensive, even if your price is higher, you're giving so much value that it doesn't matter. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Anybody have anything that you don't agree with what I just said? Okay, awesome. Let me get back to the the slides. Let me share my screen real quick. Yeah, I know, Jan. It's like when I read that, it's like I told her I'm sorry too. If she looks for a job, if she ever looks for a job, yeah, anybody, I can refer to you. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so we need to know these things. Who's your competitors? What's their price, their package? What do they offer that's the same as you? And very very important. What is different? Okay, so you search, you build up your intelligence, not your intelligence IQ. Yeah, you build up your intelligence on what your competition is doing. Okay, you do legal corporate espionage. I'm not asking you to break into their office. I'm asking you to get information on their company. If you have a friend, okay, get them to get a proposal. Get them to get brochures that are not for the public. Gather this information because you're intelligence gathering. All right. You need to be able to do that. All right. Okay. So now we have the types of prospecting. Okay, the types of prospecting, and we cannot focus on one. Okay, we have online, offline, warm, and cold. So that's the types of prospecting. The two basic kinds are, of course, the online and the offline. All right. Now the category of the types of prospecting, we actually have a lot more, but I took quite a fair bit of it out. Okay. Definitely the in-person is out now. Okay. However, when I say in-person and network, let me think how to phrase this so I don't sound like an ass. Okay. I also attend webinars by other countries, by other companies in different countries as well. Okay, in the UK, US. What that means is that sometimes I have to stay up until, if it's a UK, if they do it in the afternoon, I think we're about 8, Malaysia is about 8 hours ahead. Okay, but Philippines also. 8 hours ahead, so not that difficult. But in the US, time difference is a little bit greater. Okay, so I attend webinars that are specific to my industry. Okay, so when my competitors when my competitors run a webinar, I will join, because who else joins my competitors' webinars? Anybody want to tell me who else joins? Sheila, it looks like you're going to say something.
Your prospects.
Right, my prospects. Casey, you're right also. So I join. I actually have a different Zoom account. I also have a different WebEx and whatever, with, I'm not going to say fake name, but with my Gmail information. Okay, so I will join, and then I'll look at the chat, and then I'll see, oh, this guy is from this company, and then I make a note. Okay, of course I don't approach them in the webinar. That would be like totally unethical, isn't it? Right? I do not approach them in the webinar chat itself, but I'll take note of their name and possibly their company. Okay, sometimes the webinar hosts say, oh, everybody share your LinkedIn, and I'm like, yeah. Okay, and then I'll connect, and then I'll start a conversation. Okay, and so what my competitor has done, all right, is they've identified some prospects for me that I maybe would not have reached on my own. Does that make sense? And this is how you network. You can join groups in Facebook. You can join group networks in LinkedIn. All right. If you're not posting on social media, not your cat pictures and drinking coffee and all that stuff, yeah, but post information, post knowledge on your social media. Okay, and if you're a business owner, a solo entrepreneur, or you're a sales and revenue generating professional, you should advertise. You must advertise. Okay, you can spend as little as 5 or 10 ringgit, okay, or 100 pesos, 150 pesos a day on Facebook, and fine tune that process so that you can get people getting in touch with you as well. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay. Every single one of us has existing clients, right? Okay. I get calls from existing clients on a fairly regular basis. Okay. In fact, I got a call from, we did a training for Hong Leong Bank 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was like November 2019, roughly around there. All right. We trained their mortgage department, very, very effectively. One of the senior managers joined another company not in the banking industry, and she contacted me last week. And at 1:45, we are going to have a Zoom discussion on the value that we can bring to her current team. Okay, and the reason she thought of me is because I keep in touch with everybody in one way or another, over a period of years. Okay, so those are your existing clients. Then we have the referrals. How many of you have ever asked for a referral from a client? Anyone? I think we all have, right? And usually, what is the answer we get? Usually, the answer we get is, "Oh, if I can think of anyone, I'll definitely refer to you." Correct? Right? If we have time before the end of the day, I'll do. Somebody needs to remind me, because this is not in the slides or the topic that we're discussing. But I'll do a role play with one of you on how to ask for a referral, when to ask for a referral, and how to determine if you're going to get a referral. Is that okay? Yes? Yes? Who would like the responsibility of reminding me before we end the session today? It would be someone that really wants to get referrals. Okay, Dorothy. Okay, remind me before we end today. Now, I'm going to go into the tools of the prospecting, because we all need tools. All right? You know what? In fact, let me write this down, because I think I'm promising you all a lot of things extra. Okay, books, script, tracking sheet, right? Tracking sheet, lead sheet. Was there anything else that I promised that I left out right now? Okay, well, it'll come back to me. All right. Okay, so you must have a script. You must have a script. What are the scripts that you got to have? The scripts that you got to have are your first call, your second call, your follow-up call, your objections, what email 1, email 2, email 3, WhatsApp, a 1 month call, 2 months call, closing call, presentation. You must have scripts in all these things. Let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, hold on one sec. Yeah, let me clear this out real quick, and I'll pull this up. Let's see. You all can see my folder, right? Yes. This one. Okay. I think it's here. Okay. Okay. These are the scripts that we use. All right. We got a company that we did a training specifically on scripts, and these are all the scripts that they sent that I went through individually for them. Okay. So they all sent their scripts, and I fixed it for them. All right. When we talk about scripts, okay, let's go into this one. We'll just go into a very basic one. Oh, let me show you what a call tracking sheet looks like. Just bear with me while my Word opens up. Okay. So this is what a call tracking sheet looks like. All right. And I'll send this to you so you can adjust it for yourself. Okay. Let me show you what one of my scripts looks like. Let's see. Okay. This is for. Okay. So we did a program where we were reaching out to NGOs. This is like pre-COVID, yeah. So we were reaching out to NGOs. We were trying to teach some techniques to NGOs, charitable organizations. We made the price very very affordable for them because it's like a it's like a in-person training at a hotel. I think it was like we charged less than 50 ringgit, and we covered all the food and whatnot. Okay, so anyway, so if you look at this, it sounds like it's a pretty simple script, right? If I tell you that's what we're doing, but this script is 6 pages. It's 6 pages. Okay, we go through all the things that we talk about, then we go through the objections, okay, and then the deeper objections on why they say no, and then the follow-up conversation, okay, objections on the follow-up conversation, okay, further objections after they speak to the board of directors, all right. So a simple offer, okay, is a 6-page document. And did it work? We contacted almost 300 NGOs, associations, all right. We had 180 attend. Okay, so it's a better than 50% closing ratio. All right, and the whole thing wasn't to generate revenue. It was other purpose behind it. So that's a script. Okay, let's see. Let me see this one. This one is a similar script. Okay, for a different purpose. Okay, we're talking to HR, sales managers and things like that. So this is what that script looks like. Different colors, highlights, bolding, all these things. So this is what a script looks like. Okay? So that's what a script looks like. So you must have scripts. All right? So we have scripts for different purpose, different scenarios. That's in a different folder. So the emails that we send out, of course we send out the newsletter emails, but we also send out my follow-up emails, my follow-up WhatsApp. Everything's already pre-written. All I got to do is plug in the person's name, the person's company, and then one or two things that we talked about that I refer from the notes from our conversation. Does that make sense? You see, how many times do you follow up where you write the whole email again, or you type out a WhatsApp message, from hello to thank you. And if you think about it, all those emails, if it's not scripted, all those emails and WhatsApp that you're sending out, it's all different. How do you track something that's different all the time? You must have you must have something consistent. All right. So let's get back to this. Okay, we'll take a quick break after we do this prospecting exercise. Let me get through the rest of the things first. Okay, so we talk about your appointment and calendar. I said you need to have some kind of system. All right, your social media posting and marketing. I'll send you one more thing. I'll send you a structure of how to do your posts. Okay, because sometimes the most difficult thing is creating content, isn't it? Right? Because it's like, what do I write about my business or my product or my service today? And then you don't do it. And then you just do it like every 3 days or once a week. Okay? So one of the biggest challenges is, yes, Valerie, on creating content. So I'm going to give you a structure on how to create your content. And then remember, I showed you, it said swipe files. Okay? The swipe files, Sheila, okay. It's only because you asked, Sheila. Okay, I'll try to get it out. I'll try to get it out everything this afternoon. I have quite a packed afternoon today, but I'll try to get it done between 4 and 5 today. Okay. In fact, one of the best ways to do it, before we end today, I'm gonna share with you the one of the best ways to get that information today. Okay? And we'll do it that way. All right. So Sheila, remind me before we end today on the best way to get that info today. All right. Okay. So let's see, where was I? Where was I before Sheila interrupted? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So then you got to figure out your follow-up flow. Okay. I'm going to share with you the follow-up flow of what we did for the real estate company. But you can take that and apply it to your business. Okay? It's like you cannot say the same thing on every follow-up, isn't it? Right? I mean, if you said the same thing on every follow-up, that would look stupid, wouldn't it? Right? It's like, how come she's saying the same thing? How come he's saying the same thing all the time? Can't you think of something different? And we cannot think of something different because we don't know our competition, we don't have swipe files, we don't have content, we don't have a system, we don't have scripts. And we try to rely on what we think right now to create the content. Okay? When you prospect, are you going to get objections? Yes or no? Okay? Maybe you can unmute yourself and tell me what are the objections that you get in the initial prospecting. In the initial prospecting conversation or phone call. What do you get? You get high price, okay? What else do you get? Never heard of you. No time to talk right now. Too busy. We don't need that. We already have a vendor. We already have a supplier. Never thought of that. We get those initial, isn't it? Get back to you. Oh yeah, this one. How many people have ever gotten back to you, right? We cannot allow this. Get back to you if I'm interested. In fact, on the follow-up, I'm going to teach you how to prevent the get back to you if I'm interested. Is that okay? Yes? No? Okay? So, we get these initial objections, okay? So how do we handle them? Okay? Not interested. What do we say? Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, no, you should be interested because what? And then you try to ram it down their throats, right? Yeah. Okay, I need to ask my wife. Okay, there's many things that we can say to that. Need to ask my wife and my husband. This one I haven't used in a long, long time. Okay. You know what? Let's do a little bit of a fun role play right now. Ask my wife. Okay. So George, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So now I haven't practiced this in a long time. Need to ask my wife because I don't hardly get that all the time. All right. But let's try this. Okay. So I'll just ask you the closing question, and then George, you tell me I need to ask my wife. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So George, you want to get this package right now, right?
Oh, this one I need to ask my wife.
Okay. Hey, no problem. We all need to ask our wives because we want to have a harmonious relationship, don't we?
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm sure you heard this phrase, "Happy wife, happy life." Right. That's the torture of a husband, isn't it, George?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but let me ask you this: in your business, yeah. And now I know that you're running the home business, but let's say you're running a company or you work in a company. It'll make it easier on this role play. All right. Okay. I understand that you work in a company and then you make purchasing decisions in your company. Isn't that right, George?
Yes.
Okay. When you have a vendor or a supplier give you a proposal, and it's X amount of dollars, and the company relies on you, on your expertise and your responsibility to make that decision on behalf of the company. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you need to check with your wife when you're making a decision for your company?
Oh, that I don't need to ask my mom.
Right. So what I'm asking you to do right now, George, is I'm asking you to make a business decision for the good of for your health, for your security, and for you to be able to support your family in the way that you like. Because you mentioned that you wanted to go on a long holiday with them when this BS is over, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, and making this decision right now, what you would do is you would surprise your wife when we get this started, and you're able to buy the tickets for that vacation. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so role play over. How was that?
Yeah, it's pretty smooth.
Okay, who's married here? Lady, who's married? Who's married here? Put your hand down, Anissa. Okay, Sheila. Okay, let's role play. All right. You're gonna say I need to ask my husband. Okay. So I'll cut it short a little bit. So we did the I need to ask my wife. Now we're gonna do ask my husband. So would you like to start this package right now or start this deal right now, Sheila? Tell me I need
Ask
to
my
ask my
husband.
husband.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. And you definitely should because I know because I'm married myself. I know that as a wife you want to play into your husband's leadership and making part of the decision. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask you the question. Who does the grocery shopping in your household?
Both of us.
Okay, do you ever go to the grocery store by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, when you go to the grocery store by yourself, you normally buy like the same brands and of like food or whatever, correct? Normally.
Yeah.
And then, but what if something's on sale that's not really the brand that y'all get, and maybe it's like a little bit more expensive, or it's a decision that you make on your own? Would you have to give him a call and seek his permission to be able to buy that product?
I have to. I have to.
I'm sorry, you would have to.
I don't
You
have to.
don't have to.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Not every decision, and you should, but not every decision needs his permission, right? On everything that we do, because we're all intelligent enough to be able to make our own decisions for the sake of our family. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So shall we go ahead with this?
Okay.
Okay. And that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And the reason I can do that, even though I haven't got that for a long, long time, is that it's practice. You see, yes, I was stuttering a little bit and I was trying to recall, and I'm not working from a script, but it's in here enough that I could bring it out and adapt it to the situation. And that's how powerful a script is when you handle objections. Does that make sense? Oh, just to let you know, if you haven't watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street, what we role play is extremely soft. George, let's do this. I'm gonna give you something a lot stronger that we would do in the U.S. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, do you want to buy? And then you just tell me I need to check with my wife, and then you'll hear how strong it is. All right. So do you want to buy, George?
This I need to check with my wife.
Okay. So there's a few things I will say. The first version is, hey George, you're the man of the house, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're the man of the house, aren't you the one that makes the financial decisions for your family, or do you leave that to your wife?
Oh, I leave that to my wife.
Okay, so she wears the pants in the family. Is that right? She wears the pants in the family. Is that right?
Yeah, for some buying decisions, she will make it.
Okay, then why am I talking to you, George? I should be talking to your wife. Can you put her on? That's how strong we can be. Okay. Hey, no disrespect, yeah. We're role playing, yeah. But that's how strong you can be, you know. It's like, so if your wife is making the decision, and I've said this before, yeah. Excuse my language. So if your wife makes the decision, why the fuck am I talking to you? I've said that. Okay. I've also said, okay, not role playing, George. You can mute yourself. Okay. So I've also said this. Okay. Do you want to do it? Yes. Okay. Do you want to use credit card, or do you want to send in a payment, or use a credit card? Okay. I'm ready for the card now. Oh, my card is in my wallet. It's downstairs. Well, go fucking get it. We're gonna do this deal now. Go get off your chair, get out of your room, go down the stairs, get your fucking wallet, and bring it back. Sorry, Sheila, your kid behind. Sorry. So go get your freaking wallet, bring it up, and read me the numbers now. I'll wait. That's how strong we can get, I'm not asking you to do this. Please, I'm not asking you to do this. What I'm saying is that depending on the geography, we can do that because it's expected. Does that make sense? We're too soft. We're too soft because when we get objections, we're too soft in the way that we communicate. Do y'all kind of agree? You see, we need to push a little bit harder than we're pushing right now. One of the things that I would say that's quite effective also is, do you want to do this? And then you can see them, you can see them saying yes, especially in person or on the phone. Yeah, if you're really in tune with them, you can hear them thinking yes, thinking no. There's two things I do. You need to say yes. Just say yes. You need to say yes. And it will push them to a decision. Or I'll a little bit softer is hey, you know what, Chris, I hear you saying yes, I hear you saying no. Which way are you leaning? And then get them to explain. That's a softer way. All right. Though I need to think about it is a blow off. Right? It is a blow off. All right. There's one way that I handle that objection that I only use once in my life. I only use this response once. So somebody told me it was in person. It was in person, yeah. I think probably about 7 or 8 years. No, like 12 or 13 years ago. Okay, and everything was going fine, and he was like committing, and he was going to say yes. And then I pushed him a little bit for the decision, right? And then he said, you know what? I need to think about it. And then I said, okay, how long did you need? He goes, I need to think about it. The favorite, right? I'll get back to you once I've thought it over. Okay? Now, there's two ways to handle it. A strong way is, okay, are you going to, let's say you get back to me tomorrow, it's 24 hours from now. Are you going to be thinking about this for, and nothing else for the next 24 hours? And of course they say, of course not. Then I said, how long would it really take for you to think it over? And he said, well, probably just a couple of minutes. Okay, it's 2 o'clock right now. I'll keep quiet for 5 minutes, and I'll ask you for your answer at 2:05. Is that okay? That's a slightly softer way to handle it. Okay. Now, a stronger way to handle it, which I've only ever said once in my life, is this. Guy's name was Henry. Okay, so Henry said, you know what? I need to think about it overnight. And then I said, hey, no problem, Henry. Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you go to night school? He goes, what? Night school? What do you mean? I said, well, if you're not going to night school, what makes you think that you're going to be smarter tomorrow morning than you are right now? Okay, that was too strong. I didn't close the deal. All right, but I've only said that once in my life. All right, but my point is that you see how all of this rolls off. What if you were able to handle objections, ask your qualifying questions in a way that you don't really need to think about it, and it becomes part of you? Anybody take martial arts or dancing? Dancing? Nadrul, you dance, right? No? Anybody do ballet or Yan, put your hand down. No ballet. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. If you know anything about dancing or martial arts, yeah, there's this thing called muscle memory, right? Like you see them they practice the same movement over and over and over again, and what you're developing is what's called muscle memory. Muscle memory means that it becomes part of you, and you don't need to think about it when you're doing it. And the scripts and the practice, it allows you to do that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a prospecting exercise. Okay, I'll set aside 15 minutes for it. It's 11:29 right now. There are 27. I'm going to put us into 6 different groups. six different groups would probably give us three, possibly four in a group. All right. What I want you to do is I want you to tell your breakout room members what are the prospecting activities that you have done, and are doing, okay? And what you will be doing in, starting from today forward. I'll ask you this question, okay? We all did the training yesterday, correct? Together until 1 p.m., thereabouts. What did you all do after the training yesterday? Valerie, good work. Guan Yu,
Go
your
back to work.
smile, yeah, your smile, yeah, tells me that something else. Okay.
Go back to work. But yeah, I did spend a lot of time on the mindset thinking.
Good. Okay. Here's my point. There's two things that you should have done yesterday after the training. The first thing that you should have done yesterday after the training is take all that stuff. I don't know what BAU.
Business as usual.
Business as usual. No, cannot business as usual, Nadrul. Cannot. You need to be business as unusual. Okay? What I mean by that is that you need to do more than what you have been doing. All right? There's two things that you should have done yesterday. Is you should have thought about and and written out the changes that you would make, and you would have gone back to work but at a higher level. And I want you to commit to doing that today, tomorrow, and from this point on. Can we do that? Yes? What I'd like you to do in the prospecting exercise is I want you to list out what you have been doing and what you are doing right now, and what you are going to be doing additional prospecting activities from this point on. Because if you're not getting results, if you're not getting spectacular results in your prospecting activities, is there any point doing only that? There's a cliched definition, right? There's a cliched definition. It's like the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping for a different result. Okay? And here's what I'll drive it home with. If what you're doing right now was already working, you would have achieved your dreams already. If you're not happy with your current result, do something different. Oh, and Sheila, I feel so bad about your kid in the background when I said those things. I will try to cut it out. I do my best, all right? Because people like Jan and George, they like hearing that. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we're going to take a 15-minute exercise in the break room, in the breakout rooms. Are we clear on what we're doing? Yes or no? Yes? Yes. Okay, awesome. So let me get that set up right now. And I will do my best to visit all of the rooms. I'll pop in and out. You don't need to say hi to me or anything like that. Just continue doing what you're doing if I make it there. When I make it there, okay? Let me just make sure. Okay, so I'm going to open the rooms. Just click join or accept. Okay. Okay, welcome back everyone. That exercise was useful? Yes, no? Hey, Ten, good to see you. Okay, awesome. Okay, um, Sheila asked a question about CRM, right? Right, okay. I'm going to type this in the chat. And if you, okay, everybody knows what a CRM is, right? CRM means customer relationship management. Um, I have notes here, which I transfer into a lead sheet, so I have it all on paper. Because I personally, I feel I work better with paper. However, papers can get lost and whatnot, right? So I will transfer it into my CRM. We've used several CRMs, over the years, and some of them can be pretty pricey. It's like $15, $20 US per month. But I came across this one several years ago, and I always refer people to use it. What you do is you do a Google search. It's in the chat right now for HubSpot CRM. It's quite useful. It's rather easy to learn, and it's free. Okay, so what you do is you just search for HubSpot CRM, and then you create an account, and you have usage of it. I cannot remember if there's limitations, but it's better than nothing. Okay, was there another question that somebody was asking me in the rooms? Oh, Dorothy was saying something like, she tried to push, and then they said, oh, you sound very rude. Don't do that again, right? And earlier, when I was doing the role play with Sheila and George, okay, if there's no context, it can be rude, right? It can be too hard, correct? Now, we're going to talk about building rapport. The earlier example I said, go downstairs, get your wallet, get your credit card, do it now. When I gave that example, I cannot just call someone up and say, hey, John, this is Chris. This is what I want you to buy. Go get your credit card right now. It cannot be done. Cannot be done, all right? But what we want to do is we want to build rapport. Let me ask you this question. What does rapport actually mean? What is rapport? You can unmute yourself and give me your suggestion on what rapport means.
Relationship.
Or you can type it, right? Relationship, okay. Good relationship, I would assume, right, Guan Yu?
Yep.
Okay, what else?
Trust.
I like that. Who said that? Sorry, I didn't catch who said that. George, okay.
Me, yeah.
Trust. Okay, what else? Vibe. I like that, Victor. It's really a sense of reputation might be too strong at this point, Nadrul. But we use social media to build the reputation before we have interaction. All right, so that's a slightly different concept. Okay, rapport really means building trust and likability. Okay, leading to a relationship. The relationship, when we talk about relationship, is built over time, correct? Right? Like we say that, oh, I have a good relationship with my client. Did you build that in the first 5 minutes, or did you build it over time for a relationship?
Over time.
Over time, correct. Rapport can be built in a shorter amount of time. Can you build trust? Can you build rapport instantly? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Yes or no? Okay. Can you? Who says yes? Just raise your hand if you say yes. Who says no, cannot? Okay. Nadrul, you're right. Okay? You're right. You cannot build rapport instantly if you don't do certain things. if you do certain things, you can build rapport instantly. Um, I'll give you an example. Let me illustrate it this way. You can build good rapport and you can build bad rapport, correct? Right? Okay. Have you ever met someone, a stranger or an acquaintance or whatever? Have you met anyone for the first time? And then after just looking at them, you feel like I'm not talking about boy girl, yeah, a relationship, yeah. Um, and you just like, I don't know why, but I like this person. Have you ever said that to yourself or experienced that? Yes, we
Yes.
all have, right? Have you also met someone for the first time? I don't know why, I just cannot stand this guy. Have you done that? Have you ever said that? We all have, right? That's what rapport is. It's almost undefinable. It's an emotion. Thank you, Jahan, for saying that. Okay, it's an emotion that something is created that for some reason you like them and you trust them. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not going to teach you how to build fake rapport, all right? Because it starts with the sincerity here. It has to start with the sincerity. Because if you don't have the sincerity, it cannot go for long term. Does that make sense? It cannot be fake. You have to have the sincere. I'm not saying that you have to have the sincere thing on liking them, okay? But you have to have the sincerity in that your product or service will help them. That's where the sincerity has to start. If your product or service can help them, you have to do everything in your skills, everything in your power to get them to buy from you because it will help them. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's get into rapport. You can build rapport instantly. There's a way to build rapport instantly. Okay? And it's something that we are all capable of doing. Do you know what that one thing is that we can build rapport instantly? What is that one thing we can do in every interaction that you can build rapport instantly? Does anybody know what it is?
Listen.
Well, instantly. Instant. Actually, I think George and Celine know the answer.
I think
Humor.
Okay, Kwan Yu first.
I think I know the answer too. I think we had this experience in the last session that we had.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, we just interact and give out compliments.
Yes, but we build that. But what is the one thing you can do in the first 2 to 3 seconds? It's what I'm doing now.
Smiling.
Smile.
Smile. When you smile at someone, yes, George, show your teeth, but not if they're yellow or brown. Okay? And somebody said humor. Kieran, you said humor, right? Is it? I think, or somebody said humor. Okay. When you smile, something happens. Whenever you smile at someone, what is the normal, automatic human response?
Smile back.
Correct, Najrul. They will smile back. Now, I'm not going to get too scientific. Something happens when you smile. Some kind of endorphins and whatnot, scientific chemical reactions happen in our body when we smile. All right? And it makes us feel happy. What we're doing is we're associating that happy feeling to the person that help us get that happy feeling. And almost instantly, you have a glimmer of rapport, of trust and likability. Does that make sense? Yes? So, but you can smile without showing your teeth also, Hadrian, Jan. Okay, so how to smile online? We're online now. If you look back to the beginning of this session, and you look back at the beginning of yesterday's session and any session that you're on with me, what is one of the first things that you see when I come on the camera?
Your smile.
Right, my smile. All right. Is it a real smile?
Yes.
Yes, it is. but I've had to practice it. Okay, I'm not saying that my smile is fake because it has to come from here, but you have to practice how you smile so that you don't look like a pervert, right? Okay, you have to. And nowadays, when we're outside, what do we have to wear when we're outside of our house? We wear a mask, right? We have to train ourselves. You see, when we're not wearing the mask before, we can smile, correct? But when wearing the mask, how do we know when we're smiling?
The eyes.
Correct. We have to train ourselves to make our eyes sparkle when we meet someone. It's something you have to train yourself to do so that the smile reaches your eyes and it crinkles up and people know you're smiling. Does that make sense? So we have to train ourselves to do that. Okay? It used to be that when we meet someone for the first time, we handshake, right? We cannot do that anymore. So we got to change. We got to give a smile. We got to do some kind of other greeting. All right? So let's get into the rapport right now. Oh, we don't need to take a break, do we? Because we have about an hour left. Do we need to take a break, anybody? If you need to take a break, don't worry, we are recording this. If you need to use the bathroom, you need to get something done, just feel free to go ahead and do it, okay? Okay, so build rapport. We need to follow a few steps to build rapport. Okay, we need to smile. I'm not saying smile like the Joker or non-stop smiling during the whole interaction, but the first thing that you have to do is you have to smile. The next is that whether it's online or in person, and I would even go to say as far to say that even on the phone. All right, check your appearance, check your smile. All right, you have to remember the basics of good communication. I think when you said something about listening, right? The basics of communication is two-way interaction. When they say something, you can tag on the last two words and you can repeat it back as a question, and that indicates that you are listening. Common ground is part of rapport. It's not rapport. Common ground is that you find out that they like fishing, you like fishing. You have kids, they have kids, you have kids. They have similar experience and you have those experience. So it's like a shared experience. We subconsciously we have an affinity to people that we share experiences with. All right? And then somebody said something mirroring, right? In the chat earlier. You mirror and match mannerisms and speech appropriately. And we'll go into how to do that, all right? You can pay a compliment, but please do not pay a fake compliment, okay? Let's say you smile and they smile back. One of the things that you can say is, wow, you know what? That's a wonderful smile. You must be in a good mood. What's your secret? All right? And then, they'll tell you why they look happy, and that creates the happy momentum. Okay, so let's say you have a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting or a phone conversation. Hey, you know what, Chris? After we're done with the meeting, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to, what are you going to be doing, or are you going to be going somewhere? So they can say, oh, I'm going to back to the office. I'm going to, pick up my kids from the school. Example, yeah. I got to go and get food for dinner, or got to go to the grocery store. This gives you information to have a conversation for a follow-up question. Okay, let's say they go, yeah, I got to go to the grocery store and buy, ingredients or supplies for dinner. Oh, what are you cooking? Oh, we're making chicken, and oh, you know what? I love to eat that. Okay, things like that. Okay, you can ask them about. What is the one thing working from home has done? It gives us more time to watch Netflix or things like that, right? And I've had conversations with people where I say, hey, do you Netflix? Yeah, I do. Hey, what do you watch? And then they say what they watch, right? And then we talk a few minutes about the show. So that's a shared experience. Okay, so things like that. Compliment them sincerely. Okay, all right. Let's see. Here's the Dorothy. You said that you were sharing that story about rudeness, right? The reason that you got that response is that you probably read the situation. And I'm sorry for saying this. I'm not trying to pick on you. You probably read the situation a little wrong, or maybe it was inaccurate. The other thing is that you didn't build enough trust and likability in that context, even though they may have been your friend. All right. Now, if you can build a certain level of trust and likability, you can get anyone, almost anyone, to do just about anything, and they feel happy doing it within legal and moral reasons. All right. Now, I'm going to share with you three things, or three kinds of ways that people transmit and receive information. All right. Let me introduce the concept right now. Okay. So we have what's called auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Okay. So auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. There's actually a couple more. We have olfactory, and we also have, if I remember how to pronounce this, gustatory. Okay. Let me cover the olfactory and the gustatory first. Olfactory is smell. Okay, smell. Have you ever walked into a place and then you smell something? Maybe you smell like a vanilla scent, and then you remember the cookies or the cake that you used to have when you were a kid. Or you walked into a restaurant and then, let's say the smell of the restaurant brought back memories from your childhood. Okay, that's olfactory. Okay, gustatory means when you eat something, it brings back a feeling. I'll share this with you very quickly. Okay, when I was young, when I was 7 years old, I think I shared with you all, my father passed away. He was 37, I was 7, and growing up was not easy. Sometimes we didn't have enough. Well, I'm not going to say we didn't have enough food to eat, but we didn't have a lot of food and a lot of variety. My mother was working, and sometimes the money wasn't enough. So what she used to do was she used to buy the long beans or the green beans, and then make it into like with eggs and omelet, right? So it's a very nice dish. Like what do you call it? Kacang panjang, is it? Is that right, Nadrul? Right? Okay. So she would make it into an omelet, and she would always use long beans because it was cheap. Okay, and she could buy a lot of it. All right. But growing up, eating that, it reminded me that I couldn't have this and I couldn't have that. Until today, I cannot really eat long beans. All right, because when I eat long beans, if I forget, right? If I forget, and then I take the long beans and I eat it, right? And then all of a sudden I feel sad. I feel sad because it for some reason the taste reminded me of when I was a kid. So that's the gustatory. Okay, but we won't focus on those. We'll focus on the auditory, the visual, and kinesthetic. Does anybody know what auditory means? Now that I explained the olfactory and I've explained the gustatory. Anybody want to give a guess on what the auditory means? You can unmute yourself and mention it, or you can type it in. No? Nobody wants to give a try? Okay.
Listening?
Hearing. Yes, correct. It's the ears, right? The ears. Visual. Visual is what we see. Hey? Yeah. Visual is what we see. Visual is what we see, right? Kinesthetic is how we feel. All right? If you go back to yesterday's recording and today's recording, you will find that I switch out among all three. Okay? That means I will say things that are tend to be auditory. I will mention things that are visual, and I'll mention things that are kinesthetic. It'll be things like can you hear? You guys can hear me, right? Can you imagine? Can you see this? How would it make you feel? So if you look back to the recording, you'll see that I switch out. The reason for this is very simple. The reason for this is because people transmit and receive information in a predominantly one way. What I mean by that is nobody, or there's very few people, but nobody is really only auditory or only visual or only kinesthetic. Okay, we tend to give out information and receive information preferably one way with a combination of the other 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So I'll give you an example. Some of us prefer reading, correct? Reading the book, right? Some of us prefer hearing an audio program of the book, correct? And some of us prefer an immersive experience, which has to do more with feeling. So this is how we break it down. Okay? So what does that mean? What it means is when you have conversations with a person, your prospect, okay, if they keep saying things like in the auditory fashion, and you keep pushing information to them in a visual fashion, there's going to be a disconnect. And you've experienced this, okay? For example, when you talk to someone, and maybe you give them a brochure. Let's say you give them a brochure like, here, take a look at this. Take a look at this is what? What is take a look at this? Is that auditory, visual, or kinesthetic?
Visual.
Right, it's visual. Take a look at this. And then they say, no, I don't want to look at it. Just tell me about it. Right? Have you ever experienced that? Right? Or you try to say, hey, can I tell you about this program or this product or this service? And then they say, no, I don't want to hear about it. Just give me the brochure. I want to look at it. Right? Okay? So that's a mismatch. When you hear things like that, how we're trained is that we follow one way. All right? If they say, you know what, just tell me about it. And then some of us will go, you know what, just take a look at it. Just look at the brochure and then I'll answer your questions. It doesn't, there's a disconnect because you're not matching the way that they receive information. Okay? So, you need to say things like, I'd like to tell you about this. Would you like to hear about it? Can you listen for a few minutes? Okay, that is more auditory. Visual is, I'd like you to take a look. How's the view here? And then kinesthetic is more feel, think, and emotion. Okay, so what we need to figure out is how can we, the population, the general human being population, right, is roughly, 1/3 auditory, 1/3 visual, and 1/3 kinesthetic. Okay, so if you're only speaking one way, you're losing the other 2/3. So we must be able to identify the cues that are given to us by our prospects and our leads and our clients. And if they say trigger words like, let's hear what you have. I want to listen to what you want to tell me. Then you know that you should be using a more auditory message. Okay? And somebody, I think twice already, let's see. Kieran, you said mirroring, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to speak the language. And I'm not talking about speaking the language in whether it's English, Malay, Chinese, or whatever. I'm talking about speaking their language and matching and mirroring them in the way that they communicate. All right? Does anybody know what pacing and leading means? You can unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat. What does pacing and leading mean? Okay, pacing, in the definition of the word of pacing, it means that you keep up with them, correct? Same speed, same pace, correct? right? Leading means that you take them and you lead them forward. All right? Before you can lead, you must have rapport. Before you can lead someone, especially in a selling situation, before you can lead someone, you must have rapport. They must trust you, and they must like you. And who do we like and trust? Who do we like and trust? In fact, let me do this. Okay? I know that's a very general question. Who do we like and trust? Who do we have rapport with? We tend to have rapport with people that we like and trust, right? If let's say you have a friend, and you don't really have, or let's say you don't really have rapport with somebody, if they try to advise you, we discount ourselves. Of course, we should love and trust ourselves, but sometimes we cannot, right? Okay, so when someone tries to give you advice, if you don't trust them and you like them, will you listen to their advice? If you don't like them and you don't trust them, would you still listen to their advice? Yes or no? Right. So we gotta like and trust. Hold on, let me just clear this up real quick. We gotta like and trust the people that we interact with. Okay, we gotta like and trust the people to be able to move the relationship forward. And the way that we do that is with pacing, leading, and mirror matching. Okay, pacing means we follow at the same pace. When we start to get in sync, all right, and then we take a couple steps and we move them forward, and now we're leading them. Okay, in an online situation, it's very difficult to no, Jahan. What was the answer to no? We don't trust the people we don't like and trust, correct? Or we don't listen to them. Okay. So, when we pace, okay, we're following them, and they're following us at the same pace. When we start to lead, we do a little bit of testing. Okay, this is how we would do it. All right, we would test them using mirror match. Anybody know what mirror match means? I think Kieran, you talked about mirror matching, right? Mirroring. Can you unmute yourself and maybe put your video on, and then maybe we can do a little something. Kieran?
Hey, I'm here. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, good.
Okay,
comb your hair.
There you go. Okay.
Comb your hair. No,
I
just
get
kidding.
it.
Okay. So, can you tell us what you mean by mirroring?
In a way, what you just did, where I moved my
Right.
hand and you followed suit.
Right.
Yeah. And matching would be matching the tone, or rather the pace of how I speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did anybody catch what we did?
Yes.
Okay. What did I do with Kieran?
You mirrored and match his pace.
Correct.
You become more and more like him in a way.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing, but but you're right. And the only reason y'all caught it is because I telegraphed and I exaggerated it a little bit.
Yep.
Normally we would not exaggerate it. Okay. For example, if I was going to mirror match Jan, I would be doing this as well. Not as aggressive as him, but I would be doing this as well. Right, Kieran? Okay. And what we're doing is we're establishing a subconscious connection. Because who do we like? Now we listen and we have rapport with people that we like and trust, right? But who do we like?
Ourselves.
We like ourselves. If we extend that, hopefully we love ourselves, right, Guan Yu?
Yep.
But if we were to extend that, what we would do is we would like the people that are like us.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Now, there are some exceptions, especially in romantic relationships, husband and wife. You know, the thing where opposites attract. That's very true. But in business, likes attract. Okay? We tend to do, think about yourself. We tend to do business with people that we like and trust, right? And are like ourselves. So what we're doing is we're establishing a subconscious connection with our prospects that you and me were the same. And you're going to like me, and we tend to do business with people that we like and trust. Okay? So how do we mirror match? We mirror match a few things. We mirror match the auditory, we mirror match the visual, and we mirror match the kinesthetic. So how do we do that? Okay? You said something earlier, Kieran. You matched the volume, the speech. There's two things that we can match. Okay? On the phone, what can we match? On the phone, we can only match what they hear. Correct? So I'm gonna cover that. In an in-person or on an online setting, what can we match? What can we match?
We can also match their body language.
Right.
The way we sit.
Correct. So we can add in another element. Okay. But the most basic element that we can match is the speech. All right. How many of you like to talk softly? Anybody like to talk softly? Here's what I know. I know that Jahan likes to talk softly. Okay? And Jahan, when we have conversations, isn't this the tone that I use when we talk? Isn't it? Right? When I talk to Jahan, I'm using a softer tone, a more mellow tone. When I talk to George likes to hear something a little bit stronger, don't you, George? Right? Am I right? I think I'm right. And the reason I think I'm right is because I'm matching what you're saying, because your voice is strong, hard, and sharp. So when I talk to you, this is how I would talk. Okay? So you can mirror match body posture, gestures. Don't follow hairstyle. That one is very hard. Okay? Facial expressions, hand gestures. Have you ever talked to somebody that loves to talk with their hands like that? Right? Have you ever talked to somebody that just talks like that and stays still? See, when you talk to somebody that they use the hands like that a lot, right? I'm not saying that you should talk like this too, but you should use more hand gestures, because then you're subconsciously closer. If you talk to somebody that talks like this and you are the one doing this, you're going to be a mismatch. Does that make sense? Okay? You can mirror match gestures, body posture. Okay? In an in-person setting or an online setting, we all start usually like this, right? Correct? Right? As we get comfortable, we tend to do this or relax, and you should match what your prospect is doing. If they lean forward and talk like that, you should lean forward and talk like that. But Jan don't follow that. Okay? So Kieran leans back. Kieran likes to lean back. Every time he's on video, he'll start this way. He will start this way, and he will lean back because he wants to get more comfortable. Okay? George will start close up to the camera, and then as he relaxes, he'll pull back. Okay, so that's for the gestures and the facial and the hand movements and the posture. Okay, but one of the easiest is to match your speech. Okay, so we match speech rate, speech volume, speech pitch, and inflection. Okay, let me I'll show you in a little bit. Have you ever met somebody that talks real slow like this? They talk really slow, and then you think, come on, can you please get your next word out a little bit quicker? They talk so slow. Why do they talk so slow? Is it because their brain is not functioning? Is it because they don't know what they're saying? Or is it because they're just talking slow? All right? And then if you talk fast, because if you talk fast like this, and then all the words start coming out and jumping out, and then going a mile a minute, 100 miles a minute, jumping up and down, left and right. Because when you talk to somebody like this that talks really fast, if you talk slow like this, they're going to say to you, "Hey, why are you talking so fast? Are you trying to scam me? Do you think that you're trying to be stronger than me? Are you overpowering me?" And then if you talk fast like this, and then we talk to somebody really slow like this, you're going to think, "Why are you talking so slow? Are you smart? Are you stupid? What are you trying to do?" So, I'm giving you the extreme example, all right? I'm not saying that if they talk fast like this, you got to talk fast like this, just like them. But you got to get closer to them, because they're going to go, "Hey," subconsciously, "Hey, he talks fast like me." Okay? "Hey, he's like me, and we like people that are like us." Right, Kwan Yu?
Yep.
Right? And then we have volume. We have the low talker, because they're not so confident, or they talk a little softer. And then you got the guys that talk really loud. They talk so loud, sometimes it makes your ears hurt. And then if you're talking to somebody that talks loud and you're a soft talker, and then they'll think, "Hey, grow a pair. Are you not brave? Be more direct. Be more aggressive." I'm not saying, I'm giving you extremes. I'm not saying talk loud or shout. What I'm saying is match up a little bit. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Because we need to start to be in sync. And then this one I try not to do. Speech pitch. That means if they talk like this. No, I'm just kidding. But you have people that talk like this, right? Don't match that. Don't sound like Mickey Mouse. What I will do is, if their voice is a little deeper, I will lower my voice to sound a little bit deeper, so that I can try to match them on the deepness of their voice. Does that make sense? All these things that I did, it's not talent. It was all skill. Okay? There's another part that we can add in, which is inflection. Okay? Inflection means the tonality. All right? You want to pick up on the things that they say. Okay, for example, "I'm looking for a long vacation." Right? So that's the inflection of the word, correct? And then when when they're using describing words, you want to kind of match what they're saying. Okay? So if, let's say, they go, "Hey, you know what? I'm looking for a long and relaxing vacation." What you would not say is, "Oh, you're looking for a long and relaxing vacation." You see, there's a mismatch, right? But if you said, "Wow, you know what? I'm also looking for a long and relaxing vacation," then you're more in sync. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? It takes practice, You cannot just do this on the next phone call or the next interaction you have. You have to practice this. And you have to practice it so that you're hearing or seeing what they're doing. And that's why we have scripts and we take notes, so that we don't have to think about, "Oh, he's saying this, what do I say next?" You can focus on the tools and the skills that you have, so you can pick it up and use it. Does that make sense? Okay? One of the things that you probably do not want to mirror match as much is jargon. Okay? You don't want to introduce too much jargon, abbreviations. Engineers have their own jargon. Ad people have their own jargon. Every industry has roughly their own jargon, correct? You don't want to match that too much. However, you can use a little bit of imagery. Okay, one of the things that I really like is when I find out that someone has a military background. When someone has a military background, I change the words that I use. Okay, for example, instead of saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's get on this," right? with when I find out somebody has a military background, I would change it to, hey, you know what? You and I are together in the foxhole. Let's attack this. Let's attack this together. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm using different imagery. Does that make sense? Okay. So all this is not going to be solved in a 3 half-day training. All right. All of this is I'm giving you the start so that you can pick it up and start using more of it. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay. What I'll do is, in fact, let me write this down. I'll send you at least 1 or 2 books on this in PDF so you can read more on it. Would that be okay? Yes?
Good.
Only if you say yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, no. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get to the next one. Okay. Let me look at this. Let me see. Okay. I can cover. Let me see, because we've got about half an hour left. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do a rapport exercise. I'm going to probably put you all back into the same rooms that we were earlier. This is what we're going to do, okay? And I want to be very clear about this. Okay. Jahan, I'm gonna send all the books to y'all today. Today I'll send, and then I'm gonna tell you how you're gonna ask for it. Is that okay? Okay. Everybody has my number. Yes, my personal number. No. Okay. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put my personal number here. Okay. Did I write it right? Yeah, okay, that's my number. You can put it in your phone, and I'm going to explain to you what we're going to do after we do the exercise, all right? Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the rapport exercise, and then was there something that I promised that I would tell you all after, like before we ended today? I think, Dorothy, you were supposed to remind me, right? What was it, Dorothy?
Yeah, as a role play, have to ask for referrals.
Okay. Okay. You know what? Let's do that now before we do the rapport exercise. Okay. Asking for referrals. You need to have rapport. You can ask for referrals from people that do not buy from you, that haven't bought from you, and have already bought from you. But you cannot just go, hey, Kwan Yu, do you have anybody you can refer to me? If I said that to you, Kwan Yu, what would you say?
If I hear anyone, I'll let you know.
Right. And then what do we say? Hey,
Sure,
thanks,
sure.
Kwan
Thank
Yu.
you.
Right? That's what we say. Is your kid there, Sheila? No. Okay. It's BS. It's BS. I think that's okay, right, Sheila? Okay. Let's see. Who shall be my victim? Who wants to be a victim in a role play? I mean, a volunteer in a role play. Nadrul, you look so excited to volunteer. Let's give Nadrul a hand. Let's have you unmute your mic, Nadrul. We'll do a role play exercise. Don't be a dick in this role play. Don't give me too hard of a time because we're trying to illustrate a point, but don't be too easy as well. Is that okay?
Yep, definitely.
Okay. And this doesn't really work. Oh, you have a daughter there also. Sorry about that. Okay. So this doesn't work if your prospect or your client is being a double dollar sign. Okay? A double dollar sign. A double dollar sign. It doesn't work. So don't be a double dollar sign. But don't be easy. But I'm going to engineer it in a way that you have to answer me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. The reason why most of us fail when we ask for referrals is because we ask for it at the wrong time and we ask for it the wrong way. What we want to do is we want to plan ahead and we want to engineer it. This is how I would do it. Okay. Okay. Hey Nadrul. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that that you're giving us a chance to be able to service you and your family's needs. I want to let you know that I want to let you know that I will do a good job, and I'm going to take care of all your needs. Does that sound fair?
Hi, Chris. Yes, that sounds brilliant.
Okay. And I want to let you know that you don't have to trust. You don't have to trust me when I say this. What I will do is I will prove it to you that I will take care of you and your family. That'd be okay with you, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, I also want to let you know. I'm not going to ask now. I'm also going to ask you, for a favor. Is it okay if I ask you for a favor?
Yes, sure.
He doesn't know what the favor is yet, but he already said yes. Right? That's a setup. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a favor. You said yes. I'm going to ask you for a referral. I'm not going to ask you now. I'm only going to ask you for referrals when I show you that I've taken care of your needs and your family. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That's the setup. Do you see the difference so far? Okay. So now I'm asking him for a favor, and I'm telling him I'm going to fulfill my promise. And when I fulfill my promise, I'm going to ask you for referrals. Okay? Now, let's say the job is done or the contract or whatever, and then we're doing a follow-on call, right? Okay, so maybe it's like example, Nadrul, is 1 week later. And assume that I did a good job and I took care of you and your family. Assume that. All right? So, hey, Nadrul, it's Chris. You have a quick minute to chat with me?
Yeah. I have.
Okay. More than a minute, right? Okay. Hey, I want to ask you, we fulfilled this already. Do you feel that I did a good job and I did take care of you and your family?
Yeah. I mean, the services will tip top and you will fulfill all the requests.
Awesome. Okay, so now I got his commitment, right? I got him to say yes, everything was done right. So then I'll say, do you remember last week I asked you for a favor where I said that if I did a good job for you, and only after I've proven that I've done a good job, that I would ask you for referrals?
Yeah, I can remember it.
Okay, awesome. This is not what you say. Okay, do not say, great. Can you give me any referrals?
Yes, definitely. I can.
Oh, no. Too easy. Guan Yu, what do you say when I ask that?
Yeah, of course. If I see anyone who needs your services, I'll definitely let them know. Okay.
Awesome, thank you. But you see, even though that's what we normally hear, Nadrul, normally you would say that, but because I engineered it to that point, you felt that you had to be a bit more better than normal, correct? Hi, correct or not, Nadrul?
Yeah, correct.
Right? But this is the way that you ask. You see, remember we talked about the target audience? We need to know who our target audience is. Does Nadrul or any of your prospects know who your target audience is? They don't know. So what we have to do is we have to educate our prospects on we have to educate our clients on who would be a good referral for us. Hey, Nadrul, thank you so much for agreeing to give me referrals, yeah? I want to mention this. A good referral for me is somebody, I'm going to use you as an example, is somebody in their early to mid-30s with one or two young children, in a professional industry that is looking to take care of their family. So I'm educating Nadrul on who's a perfect referral for me. Okay? Now, Nadrul, out of all the people that you know, maybe then you have to teach them the contacts in your phone, maybe some of your close or a little bit further relatives, or maybe you know a neighbor or two that fits that criteria. Now, out of all the people that you know, who do you think would be a good referral for me based on that criteria? You see, now I've taught him who's a good referral for me. Right? Then he goes, yeah, you know what? Alex might be good for you, or John might be good for you. And then as he's saying this, I'm writing Alex and John down. Correct or not? And then he gives me 4 or 5 names. Enough. All right. I say, hey, you know what? I appreciate that. I'll ask you this again at some point in the future. Alex is your, and then he'll say neighbor or cousin or whatever. Hey, what does Alex do? He does this. Is it okay if I give him a call? Ask that question first. Get the number. And then, okay, let's you get the numbers for all. Then you ask him, I need to ask you another favor. Is that okay?
Yes.
He doesn't know what the favor is yet. If you ask people a favor, they will tell you yes. Okay? Even if they don't know what it is. All right? I'll introduce another phrase right now. I may mention it tomorrow. Let's say you want them to do something, but you don't really want to tell them to do it. So you be a little bit softer. It's like, Nadrul, can I make a suggestion?
Yep. Can?
He doesn't know what the suggestion is yet. He says, yes, okay, my suggestion is that we do this, we do this, we do this. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so then I'll say, Alex is your who? And then he'll say, cousin, whatever. Can I get Alex's number? Got it. Do I want to call Alex now? Yes or no?
No.
No, I don't want to call Alex yet. Because it's going to be a what? A cold call. What I'm going to ask, I said, can I ask you a favor? You said yes. I'm going to say, can you just text or WhatsApp Alex right now and let him know that Chris will be giving him a call. Would that be okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can we do that now? Yeah. It's okay. I'm not asking you to do it now, Nadrul, but
Okay.
I'm asking you to do it now. Some will say yes and some will say no. It's perfectly fine. Okay? When he texts Alex, then you call Alex. Hey Alex, this is Chris. Your cousin Nadrul asked me to give you a call. Can you chat for 1 or 2 minutes? And that's how you get a referral, ladies and gentlemen. Rather than, the A double dollar sign way of, hey, if you know somebody that can use my service, can you refer them to me? And then people will go, yeah, I can refer. And then we say, thank you. And then we get no referrals. Okay? Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen, on how you get referrals? Is it a lot of work? It's a lot of work. Okay? And you must do it consistently and constantly with your clients. What you're doing is that you're telling them, I'm going to ask for referrals, but it's contingent on me proving myself to you. And then you ask them, did I prove myself to you? Yes, great, I'm going to ask you for referrals now. And then you educate them on what a good referral is. Is it going to work 100% of the time? No, it's not. But it's going to work enough that you will get enough business out of it. Okay, so was that helpful? Yes or no?
Tremendous.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go into a rapport exercise. We're at 12:43. We're going to take 10 minutes to do the rapport exercise. I will try to put y'all in the same groups as possible. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask questions, or you're going to start with a smile. You're going to try to mirror match their speech rate, the way their posture. But don't be an ass about. Don't be a double dollar sign about it. Okay. All right. In an actual real setting, okay, you might be thinking, how can I match that? Okay, how can I match that? I can tell you, in a real world setting, when you do it, it's not noticeable. I promise you, it's not noticeable. One of the most extreme cases, I was sitting across from I think, if I remember, a CEO. I'm going to try to mimic, how he was in his chair was that he sat like that, and then his arm was like this. I didn't do the same thing. I did not do the same thing. But what I did was I put myself back in my chair a little bit, and I put my arm up here. Okay? But you can go to extremes as well. All right? The other person will not notice it. I swear to you, in over 20 years, nobody has ever said to me, "Are you matching me? Are you mirror matching me?" Nobody has ever said it in 20 years. Okay? So, are we clear on what to do in the rapport exercise? Yes? Just give me a thumbs up.
Sorry, Chris, what
Okay.
are we supposed to do, Chris?
Okay,
In the chat?
who understands my instructions for the rapport exercise? Who understands? Do you want me to repeat what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is what we're going to do in the rapport exercise. Thank you for asking, George. Okay. And all those that said that earlier when I said, do we understand? All those that said yes, thank you to those people as well. Okay. This is what we're going to do in the rapport exercise. What you're going to do is, yes, we're all there. We kind of know each other. What you're going to do is you're going to start the conversation off, decide who's going to go first. All right? You're going to take turns on attempting to build rapport with a smile, with the speech pattern, the volume, the pitch, the rate, and you're going to try to mirror match the facial expressions and the posture and the gestures. Did that make sense, George? Are we clear?
Okay. Now, okay.
When you were clear? Okay. I will tell you this. You will do the exercise and you will feel a little weird because it's not in your comfort zone. You will also think this is BS. I don't know if it's going to work. I can tell you that it works. I promise you that it works. Okay? If you think that it doesn't work, Jahan, let me ask you a question. Did it work? Yes, it did, right? Just nod your head. Yes, okay. So, it does not come from insincerity. It comes from sincerity, because you have to do everything in your power to make sure that your prospect or client gets your product or service because it's going to benefit them. Okay? So, let's do that. I'll jump in and out of the rooms, and we're at 12:46 right now. We will do it for a slightly less than 10 minutes, and then we'll come back to the main room. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, welcome back to the main room, everyone. We are right at 1 o'clock right now. Is it okay if we go for about 5, maximum 10 minutes more? Would it be okay? Okay. Uh, was that a useful exercise? I think it gave you the start of
Yes.
insights, right? Okay. Let's see. The interaction with Kuan Yu and who was it? Was it Cassie? I
Cassie.
think it was Cassie. Uh, just that one example, yeah. I think it really brought home the mismatch, didn't it? Right, Kuan Yu?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it gives a very clear example of how we need to match the people that we talk to a little bit better. All right. And then when I visited another room, it was almost like Celine and Sheila was like having so much fun. And then when I came in, I heard about a watch, and then both of them put up their watch like that, and then their smile was like the biggest smile that I ever saw. All right. And that's the common ground, a shared experience, right? I like Sheila, you felt, and Celine, you felt a closeness to Celine in that interaction, didn't you? Right? And that's really what we're talking about. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. uh, okay, so this is what we're going to do now. When we spend a lot of time, sorry, let me rephrase that. We invested a lot of time in the mindset and the prospecting and the building rapport. The reason we invest so much time is because those are fundamental foundations of how we sell. Okay, because if you don't have those things, you cannot handle objections properly, you cannot close properly. All right, we cannot do all those things. All right. And tomorrow we're going to go through persuasion, handling objections, closing, and follow up. We're going to complete those tomorrow. And those topics will go quick because if we don't have the foundation of what we done today and yesterday, we're not going to do well in handling objections and closing and follow up. Okay. And when we talk about prospecting, y'all, cards. Y'all know cards, the playing cards, right? How many cards are there in a deck of cards without the Joker?
36.
52.
52. Come on, Guan Yu.
Testing.
There's 52 cards, okay, in a deck of cards. How many aces are there in a deck of cards?
4.
4. Okay. I want you to think of your prospecting as going through a deck of cards. All right. And your job, yeah, is to go through the deck of cards to find the 4 aces. Okay. Your job is to go through all of these to find 4 of these. You're not going to get everybody. You're not going to take a 10 of hearts and turn it into an ace, but you can. All right. And if you think of it that way, because when we approach prospecting, yeah, it's like I want to get a client, I want to get a client. Your job is to find these 4 out of these. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so everybody has my number now, right? I put it in the chat. Does anybody not have my number? Okay, everybody has my number. This is what we're going to do. I will send everything that I promise by email by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. However, I will still do that tomorrow because I got to send the recordings and I got to send all the slides to y'all tomorrow, right? I will do that tomorrow. I will send the books, the script, the tracking sheet, everything. I will send it in the email. But everything that I promised up to this point, I will send to you today by WhatsApp so that you have it today. And the way that I will do that is you will send me a message on WhatsApp. I will tell you right now, I may not answer you immediately because I have a packed schedule until about 4 o'clock. but between 4 and 5 p.m. today, I will reply to all of your WhatsApp with those things that I promise. Can we agree on that first? Yes? Okay. I may acknowledge like thank you when I get it, depending on my schedule later, but I will reply to everybody that sends me a WhatsApp between 4 and 5 p.m. And since I'm doing something extra, I'm gonna put a price on it. Is that okay? The price is not a dollar amount. The price is something that you have to do for me. Is it okay to ask? Okay. What I'm gonna do is in about a minute. Oh, Dorothy, you know. Okay, I don't know what you know. Okay, so I'll explain it this way. Okay, uh, on your screen, I want you to put me as the speaker. As the speaker, that means I'll cover up your whole screen, correct? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold this up to remind you that you need to look for the four aces. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your phone. You're going to take your phone and you're going to take a picture of yourself and me on your screen. I want to see you and me on the screen with this, and I want you to send that picture to my WhatsApp. That's the admission price for me to get all these things to you today. Is that okay? Yes? Can we all do that? Yes? Okay, awesome. So what I'd like you to do is put me as on the whole screen. That means I will be the I guess the speaker. But it's okay if you cannot get it done. I'll ask for referrals tomorrow, Jahan. Okay. So I will hold this pose for about 60 seconds. Okay. So take that picture and then send it to me. We got to see you. We got to see you in the picture. We got to see me in the picture. Okay, I can only do this for 60 seconds because that's how long I can hold my smile for. And then Celine, do you notice my whiter teeth? And ladies and gentlemen, if you want whiter teeth, you need to send a message to Celine or George if you want whiter teeth. And I think Langkawi should be opening up in a couple months, right, Jan?
According to plan, September.
September. I really hope to see you in September. Okay, are we done with the pictures? Yes? Alice, you still taking? Okay, 10 seconds more because that's how long I can hold my smile before I cramp up. Okay. All right. Awesome. So send me that on WhatsApp. Screenshot is fine, Celine. Okay. What was I saying? Langkawi. So if anybody wants, I think the criteria is 2 shots, right? Or at least fully vaccinated. Is that right, Jan? Okay. So if anyone by September has been fully vaccinated, please get in touch with Jan. Jan does, if I recall, nature tours, eco tours, and walking tours in Langkawi. So get in touch with him. Let's see. I hope I'm not missing anybody out. But if anybody, in this day and age, we talk about protection for ourselves. We talk about finances. We talk about education and things like that. Ten is a insurance professional. And if you want to get some advice or suggestions on insurance, medical, critical illness, retirement savings, please get in touch with Ten. If you want to learn Mandarin, get in touch with Anissa. Did I leave anybody out? If somebody wants to buy a property in the Philippines, give Cecil a shout out. Okay? let's see. Okay. I think, yeah. Um, if let's say you are a Muslim lady, and I think maybe even a Muslim man. I think Yati, uh, Yati is an image consultant. You can get in touch with Yati on maybe your wardrobe, your persona, things like that. All right, and Jinixu. I won't go into detail, but you can Google Jinixu, and I think they handle larger campaigns, right? Is that right, Kwan Yu? Larger campaigns. But if you know anybody, maybe you can Google Jinixu or get in touch with one of the Jinixu professionals. And if you want to refer someone, I think I think they offer a referral program, right? Is
Yes,
that
we
right?
do.
Okay.
So
So
in a
if you
nutshell, if I may, in a
uh,
nutshell,
go ahead.
we provide digital marketing services, and we help out a lot of different brands, all different sizes. We do have a 5,000 ringgit SME starter package, and we do offer referrals for anyone who refers clients to us as well. So get in touch with us. Let's see what we can
Right.
do for you.
Okay. So Sheila, I think you'll get referrals from Celine because you guys are like that. Okay. So before we end today, uh, send me the WhatsApp with your whatever you call it, that selfie picture with me on the screen. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just send it to me because I will use it in some of our marketing. All right. Um, do we have any questions about today at all? All right. Tin's number is there. Celine's number is there. Whiter teeth. Here's what I'll tell you about whiter teeth. Okay. Sorry, Yan. Here's what I'll tell you about whiter teeth. I tell you I use Celine's product. I tell you it works. It really really works. Okay. Um, and I'll leave it at that if you want to have whiter teeth. So when you send me the picture by WhatsApp, I will respond with the things that I promised to send to you today, and I'll do it between 4 and 5 o'clock today. All right?
Chris,
Yes.
I'm not able to get a photo.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. 60 seconds is not too short for me.
Okay. That's okay. We'll do it again for you tomorrow. Is that okay, Tin?
Right.
Okay, awesome. But you can send me the WhatsApp, and I'll still reply to you. All right. Do we have any questions about today, about yesterday? And
Chris,
while we're yes,
sorry, I actually was on and off for these 2 days.
right.
Is it possible to get the video before tomorrow so that I could get a recap so that I'm in,
Okay.
or if that's okay. I'll just send in the selfie with you, and I'll take what we have for today for the time
Okay.
being.
This is what I will do. It's only because it's you, Celine. Okay. Since Celine asked, if Guan Yu had asked, I would have said no. Okay. If Victor had asked, I would say, you know what, a double dollar sign. Okay, Victor. But because Celine asked, I will get yesterday's recording done, and I'll get today's recording done, and I will send it to you at 4 o'clock today as well. Between 4 and 5. Is that okay?
Thank you. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
But everything, you're welcome. Everything that I send you, I will send it by email tomorrow as well. Okay. While we're waiting for any questions, if you can put your video on, I'd love to take a screenshot of all of us today because we're all wearing different clothes, right? Okay. But I think Nadru is wearing the same clothes, but that's okay. No. Let's see. Irene, Nisa, Valerie, Alice. Alice, are you able to put your video on? Cecil, if you're able to put your video on, we'd love to include you. I think this is the first time I saw Alice besides in the breakout room. The first time. Okay. On the count of three, everybody give a great big smile. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I want to thank everyone for paying attention today, participating, and I want to let you know that out of all the people that I talked to this morning and until 1 o'clock today, you guys are the best so far. So give yourselves a hand. Okay. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Use the same link to join in. I will open the room between 9:15 and 9:20. For some of you that came in a little bit earlier, we do have some music, so you can like kind of get entertained a little bit. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. I will stop the recording now. I will stop the recording now. And let's see.